4 o'clock.
You're checking your Apple Watch. You're all...
We're going to call the meeting to order. Thank you all for coming for Tuesday, August 29th, Selectmen's meeting. We will be moving to executive session after the committee reports, only to come out to adjournment. At this time, I would ask if we could have a moment of silence for the victims in Texas, the people in Texas, and Louisiana, I heard too. So just a moment of silence so that they know that we're thinking of them, our thoughts and prayers. Thank you. Could we stand now for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. We've got a good agenda. I think that's grammatically correct anyways, right? So we will move directly to public announcements. The town clerk's office will be closed on Friday, September 1st and Friday, September 8th. Please plan your business accordingly. The final Plymouth County Reuse Committee will be hosting a site walk at the former Plymouth County Hospital site on Saturday, September 9th at 10 a.m. The public is invited to attend. Rockland Hanson Rotary will be hosting the annual Carolyn Reddy Memorial Golf Tournament on Friday, September 15th at Southers Marsh Golf Course in Plymouth. Registration forms are due by September 1st. It's $125 per player, which includes door prize and lunch. Registration forms and more information is available on the town website at www.hanson-ma.gov or by calling Peter Leverone at 781-293-3551. I hope I pronounced his name right. I think I did.
Close enough.
Volunteers are needed on the following committees: 200th anniversary, agricultural, capital improvement, disabilities, elder affairs, energy, finance, Memorial Day Patriot observance, McQuon School transition, and Nathaniel Thomas Mill committees. Applications for appointment and info on the committee is available on the town website at www.hanson-ma.gov. The Water Department has announced a water restriction which allows for watering with a handheld hose from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Sprinklers are not allowed. A reminder that school opens tomorrow, Wednesday, September 30th. Please watch for school buses and students, and as always, please drive safely.
Should that be August 30th?
There's one other announcement I'd like to make is the, I'm sorry?
August.
Jim's right, August 30th, not September.
Did I say September? Oh, yeah, I did, because it's August 30th. Tomorrow's August 30th. Apologies. Thank you, Jim.
All the kids were very
I
excited.
saw that.
Yeah, they should.
Sorry, kids. My own. I could see my daughter now saying it, you know.
Dad,
I'm gonna get it. I know why now, right? Yeah, okay. So again, tomorrow, August 30th. Sorry, kids. All right, Hanson Historical Society is having their annual Harvest Fair and Yard Sale on Route 27 at 565 Main Street. It will be held on Saturday, September 16th, 2017. The rain date will be Sunday, September 17th, 2017, from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. It will include lunch, desserts, drinks, and antique car rides are available. Vendor space is available. You need to contact Patty Norton at 781-294-8645. All right, upcoming meetings. We have the final Plymouth County Hospital Reuse Committee will be held Wednesday, August 30th at 4 p.m. at Town Hall. The school committee will be holding their meeting on Thursday, August 31st at 7 p.m. at the high school library, right? Community preservation will be held Wednesday, September 6th at 7 p.m. The selectmen meeting will be held Tuesday, September 12th, Tuesday, September 19th, and Tuesday, September 26th. The Tuesday, September 26th meeting will be also 7 p.m. as will the others, but that will be the town meeting preview. The Historical Commission will hold their meeting on Wednesday, September 13th at 7 PM. Okay. So we've got, it's that time of year again, where we've got our town meeting coming up, and we need to review the proposed warrant articles. So I would ask you to move to item 1, and usually what we do at this time is decide who will motion and second the motion for ease of Mary to keep notes. So, do we have any volunteers?
I'll take a second.
I'll motion.
All right, so, Mary, we all set with that? Donnie will motion, Kenny will second, all right?
Okay.
We're gonna skip through, right? We're not gonna go in order.
No, right, we're not gonna go in order. We're gonna take out of order so that we can make some more room in this.
Yeah, we do.
At our meetings, no, I can appreciate everybody's got busy schedules, especially our school committee members, where school starts tomorrow, right, obviously. Okay, so we're gonna move directly to Article 17, right?
The
You guys
first
should have-
one,
Yeah, that'll be the first one we cover. You should have 2 copies,
that's on the regular, or is that on the special?
that should be on
We
the,
only have one warrant.
there's only one, it's just the special.
Yeah.
You should see on page 6, Donnie, if you want. Okay,
Yeah, well, that's what I was
Oh,
thinking for.
that's why he's asking, because it says special on the header.
yeah,
I'll be presenting that, Jim,
okay.
at town special.
At town special, at the
Yeah,
town
I
meeting.
got it.
Okay, so we are, again, if we don't have to recommend, but we don't have to recommend or place, or you can do both. You can do place and recommend, or you can place only and not recommend. So keep that in mind, folks, okay?
And we're doing that tonight.
Yes, I'm doing that tonight, and the reason why we need to get this done, the important thing is that we need to close the warrant in order to post it by September 14th, right, Mary? Got it, okay, got my dates down. Okay, so first item, so, Bob, did you want to read it, or do you want me to read it? Am I just reading the article, Mary? We're reading all these
We can just,
through.
we're just
Highlight
gonna
them.
highlight them and surmise them. I mean, some of them are lengthy, so
Okay,
we're just, we're just gonna touch upon them. I don't think, Bob, you need to read it, just let
The
them
first
know.
item is McQuon School repair boiler and replace some tubes. As you know, it's almost a maintenance item. The boiler's many years old, and we've got to keep that boiler running for at least a minimum of another school year, and then the town has some issues, so it's gonna need roughly $20,000 in repairs to that boiler. So that's the first one. We need an Indian Head recommissioning engineering study on the HVAC system to see what type of upgrades and maintenance and things that we may have to do to it to keep it going and to repair it in the future so there won't be any larger costs. And that's another maintenance type item. And the last year, we brought it up, but we decided we would put it off till this because money was tight. There's a middle school boiler that needs a control valve, and we're going to replace that. The total for these 3 items, the first item of the McQuon School repair boiler was $20,000. Second item of the Indian Head recommissioning engineering study for HVAC system was $15,000. And the third item, the middle school boiler control, was $33,450. For a total of $68,450.
okay. Thank you, Bob. I would entertain a motion to place and recommend this particular article.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Further discussion? Are there any questions or anything that needs to come up? No? All right, let's call to order. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
5-0. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and thank you for taking the time. School starts tomorrow, so we've still got,
A lot of things to get out.
A good night's
Yeah.
sleep,
so,
Yeah. Good luck tomorrow.
I'd love to
I'm just gonna
stay.
make a change down.
I understand, yeah.
Thank you very much, and
Thank
thank you again for
Thank you,
taking the
guys,
time.
yeah.
Bob.
Actually, I already changed that. I did boiler 1 and 2 in 124 tubes. Oh, okay, that's what it is. Yes, okay. Thank you very much, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
You can go home once you're done.
Okay, so Mr. Mitchell's asking me to take it out of order for us, so we'll do fire next, and then Mr. Brown, right?
Which one you going to, 7?
So let's go right to
6.
5.
5,
Oh, and
okay.
Mr. Chairman, we also have the health agents come down too, if we take him
yeah.
out of order as well.
Right, so he would,
How you doing, Matt?
technically, he would bump Jerry, because he's
The
first.
library,
Okay.
Karen's here too.
Which article are you working on,
Case
Chair?
4.
Which one, 4?
Yep.
Oh, transfer station, okay.
Yeah, but
Okay.
oh, there he is.
So we have an article in front of us, Article 4, on page 2. It says, to see if the town will vote to amend Article 9 of the May 2017 annual town meeting, the transfer station enterprise fund expense for fiscal year 18 as follows. The budgeted expenses were $177,250. There's a negative an adjustment to that, removing $50,000 from that to a revised fiscal year 18 budget of $127,250. I would entertain a motion to place and recommend.
So moved.
So moved. Second.
Hayden seconded. Anytime we're getting money back is a good thing. I don't see anybody, does anybody have any questions? or-
Yeah, I actually
Laura?
would just like, through you, Mr. Chairman, to
Absolutely.
Matt. Matt, can you just explain why we are in this wonderful position of getting $50,000 back from the budget?
I sat down with Todd and Mike, and Todd had kind of explained the way that it was proposed with the budget. It was, because it's an enterprise account, if there's too much in the budget, I guess prior years, we've always exceeded, the budget's exceeded what we've actually used. So just to certify, I guess, the tax base and whatnot, it had to be reduced to bring it in line. So it's a recommendation on the accountant's side.
Okay, I was secretly hoping you were gonna say we wildly reduced costs. That's why.
No, most certainly not.
Okay, all right, but thanks, Matt.
Yeah, just a housekeeping, more or less.
Housekeeper article to respond,
Yep.
okay, cool. Thank you, Laura. So I would entertain a motion to place and recommend Article 4.
So moved.
We already
We already
We already did that, I'm sorry.
did that,
Let's
yeah.
call it to vote,
Oh.
I apologize. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Passed, 4-0. Thank you, Matt. Okay, next item, let's go to Article 5. We'll start with fire. To see if the town will vote to transfer a sum of money from free cash or any available funding source to provide the town's share of the federal grant or take any other action thereto.
So moved. Second.
Motion made and seconded. Further explanation. Jerry, do you wanna give a quick on this, or you already did back
did.
last time meeting,
Yeah.
right?
At the last meeting, we received the grant, so our portion is 9,476. And obviously, there's not a funding source, because we didn't plan on this, we didn't know if we were gonna get it, so that's what the request is for an article to pay our share.
Cool. And the amount that we're getting is $189,524.
Correct.
Thank you.
When will that truck come in? How long will it take?
Once we get the plans and they get the chassis, it's 180 days from the chassis, so I'd say by the spring, April.
Great.
Excellent.
Okay, if I'm not mistaken, we didn't motion and accept.
No.
right? All right, good. Okay, so I'm going to entertain a motion to place and recommend Article 5.
So moved. Second. Mary's got a question.
Mary?
No, Dawn had already moved it before we got to the
That's
point
what
of
I
finding
thought.
Jerry.
I thought
Yeah,
so, too.
yeah, we just
sorry.
need to
Yeah,
go.
we weren't sure.
Okay, so let's call it the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Jim, did you have a question or no?
Oh, no, I was
You're
just
good,
getting my
Bodie?
hand
Keep it
up,
up.
getting it ready.
If I'm moving too quickly, tell me, guys, and I'll slow down. Okay, next article is Article 6, moving right in order, right? To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate or transfer from any available funding source a sum of money to be added to the amount appropriated in the May 2017 annual town meeting, Article 5, line 40, fire expenses, or take any other action thereto. This is a transfer request to cover the cost of promotional process for a deputy chief and lieutenant. Estimated amount is $10,000. I would entertain a motion
So
to
moved.
place and recommend.
Second.
Place and recommend. Any questions to Jerry on this particular item?
Bless you.
Thank you.
No questions? So all we needed is an additional $10,000 for both these positions, correct, Jerry?
It's contingent on the article passing in the supplemental budget. Obviously, if that article doesn't pass, then this will be passed over.
Gotcha,
But,
okay.
yeah, we didn't request any funding this year in our promotional line, so
All right,
that would be added.
thank you very much. And that supplemental budget number, just for those folks at home, is $42,452. Okay, motion has been made and seconded to place and recommend. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
5-0, we're good to go. Article 7, to see if the town will vote to amend Article 15, line 1 of the May 1st, 2017 annual town meeting, under to read self-contained breathing apparatus bottles with a town share of a federal grant to replace all self-contained breathing apparatus equipment, excuse me, or to take any action in relation thereto.
So moved. Second.
A motion has been made and seconded to place and recommend. This is a housekeeping article, which broadens the scope of the original article. The fire department has applied for a regional grant to replace all self-contained breathing apparatus. This amendment will allow the town to pay their share of the federal grant if successful, or just purchase the self-contained breathing apparatus bottles if it is not successful, right? Questions? Laura?
Yep. Through you, Mr. Chair, to the chief. Jerry, can you worst-case scenario this for us? If we don't get the federal grant, what are we looking
Yeah,
at?
so we initially asked for the 60, it's like, say $70,000 to replace the bottles. So we have to replace those bottles by November 2nd. We applied for a regional grant with Whitman and East Bridgewater. I can't promise anything because they're getting close on the $364 million they had to give out.
Yeah,
But there's a slight possibility that we could get that grant. So that means that we would be able to obtain all the equipment, the bottles, the harnesses, the masks, about $280,000 worth of equipment for $28,000. So I wanted to change this article to reflect that in the event we do get the grant, that we're gonna use it for that instead of just the bottles. And because it was only written just to replace the bottles. When it was written, we weren't sure what the grant was, but now there is it's a slight possibility. We can
so
only
this
hope.
gives us a better shot at getting more if, you know,
Yes.
okay.
We can only hope we
Which one do you
can.
want for Bob?
All right, thank you.
And I can read those if you want.
Okay, I'll put them to you, thank you. Thank you. So the next article we have is, and we just did Article 7, wasn't that it, right? Did we place a recommend, did we vote? We did, didn't we, or no?
No, we
Yes,
didn't vote.
We did not vote.
We didn't
moved, but we
vote, we
didn't vote.
placed a
We place and
recommend.
recommend, okay. Any other further questions? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
5-0. Okay, I think that takes care of you for fire, is that right, Jerry? Okay,
Can we jump to Article 15?
15 and 16, which would be on
We'll do
pages,
15, 16, and then 21,
okay,
which I believe is highway surveyor.
sure. Did you want to read them, Kenny?
Sure. Article 15, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate or transfer from funds a sum of money to conduct an assessment study of the highway facility located Indian Head Street. Explanation, these funds will be used to determine the cost of removal of the existing highway facility, $28,000. So that money is for the existing building. So we're looking for money to do project inspection, data gathering, analysis of existing buildings, analysis of space needs, cost estimates, and presentations. So that total is $28,350.
Well, so,
Go ahead, Laura, don't swear.
so Kenny, this is basically, you're saying cost of removing the existing highway facility.
We're gonna do a study to see what the
Yeah,
cost is
yeah.
and what's involved with it. That's what that
Okay.
money will
So
go
it's,
to.
this money isn't to tear it down, this is
No.
just to do a study.
That's correct,
Gotcha.
not to tear it down,
Yep.
just to do the study.
Good
And the study will
clarification.
consist of those 5 things that's how I derive at that 28,000.
Yep.
All right, I think that's
350.
awesome because it's transparency
Yep.
into what those costs are. So I think that's really awesome.
That'll be explained more too at town meeting too, right?
Yes.
So that's
Yeah,
cool.
and also, we're gonna have an open house at the highway department on September 9th, Saturday.
Is
And
it,
we'll
Jay?
post this,
Yeah,
from 11 to 2. We're gonna be doing a cable show on September 11th, along with Weston and Sampson, the engineer over there, Dan Tenney. And we're gonna have plenty of information at town meeting. We're gonna try to see if we can sneak in a small video, if we don't bore too many people. So we absolutely wanna be transparent and make sure everyone knows exactly what we're trying to accomplish here.
yeah, I think that's important for people to see what the current facility looks like so
Right.
that they can fully comprehend what we're looking at.
That's right. Yeah.
That's, I think that's great too, Laura, I know that.
Yeah,
So,
So we'll post that a few times, and then Tracy will graciously put it in the newspaper for us too, right? Thank you, Tracy. As long as I keep the air conditioner down, she said she would do that.
that's
and,
good, don't freeze her out.
Yeah, so we'll try to get out to the public as much as we can. That's the idea here.
So again, I'm going to make every motion to place and recommend. If somebody feels differently, please speak up, just as a reminder, okay? So I would entertain a motion to place and recommend Article 15 as read by Kenny.
So moved.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Further questions or comments? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, Kenny.
Okay, Article 16, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate or transfer available funds as sum of money to develop engineer plans of a new highway facility at Hawks Ave. The explanation, and this explanation, we're gonna tweak it a little bit before, this is just a preliminary. These funds will be used to develop conceptual plans and to determine the cost for relocating the highway facility to Hawks Ave. $463,000. So that's final design, okay? And that money, I have a breakdown of what that money, that's for the project design fees and the renovation final plans for Hawks Ave. So I'll run through those real quick. That's final schematic design, design development, construction documents, the bid phase services, and the construction administration, which is the OPM
Okay.
services,
Yep, we
which is
run-
required by all municipalities. So that total combined cost will be $463,000. So what that's gonna allow us to do is if the people graciously, vote for this, it's gonna allow us to be able to do an RFP on the highway facility somewhere probably around in February, I would guess. Once we do an RFP, we'll put it out to bid and we'll actually have an actual cost to build the building. So come May 2018 town meeting, we'll be able to have an exact figure on what the building's gonna cost, so people can make a decision.
And that's, we're keeping the existing structure, just to make the changes that we need to bring it up to speed, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Laura?
So Kenny, I'm glad that you explained that, because I've had people say, oh, I thought we already gave $30,000 for highway, but the original, that $30,000 that was voted a couple years ago, just for clarity's sake, was really just to kind of take a survey of what the needs were to go into that light control. So
Right.
now we kind of know what the needs are. Now, the next step would be for these guys to be basically doing a spec for what
Right.
whoever we hire
That's
would need to
correct.
build and do in that building to bring it up so that it's ready for highway.
That's
move.
right.
Now,
And this
I-
is something that has to be done on any new projects
Sure,
when you're
yeah.
renovating it all.
Yeah.
New buildings.
We're just doing it early because the building's not gonna be conveyed over to us till probably December or January. If we don't do this now, we have to wait until next May before we can do anything.
Okay, that's exactly where I was going with this.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to clarify, you said we're not going to get this stuff, we're not going to go out to RFP until it's been conveyed to us.
That's correct.
Okay, just wanted to
correct.
clarify that.
Yes.
All these things lead to the RFP.
That's right.
They have to be
Yeah.
done prior to.
We need all these things to happen in order for Mike to put out an RFP.
Gotcha.
Okay,
And then we can keep the momentum going, and we don't have to wait until May to stop this, and then we're looking at another year before we find out about the building.
okay, thank you.
Jim, did you have something?
No, there's no choice. It's, I
Well,
mean,
it's
there's,
the way to go.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, if anybody really wants to see what that building looks
Yeah.
like, go down Main Ninth.
I think that if you come to the open house, you'll agree that the facility needs to be
Yeah.
upgraded.
Donnie, you all set?
No.
You have any questions? Okay.
I'm fine.
I haven't forgotten you there, brother, all right?
I know you haven't.
So, so that's better explanation, because when I first read it, I said for relocating, I'm like, wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll tweak that a little bit.
Yeah.
That's,
Yeah, more
Like, I'm in the
detail.
wrong
Yeah.
business, you know?
you know,
All right, okay.
that's why I wanted to read the details and read
appreciate
those
it.
articles.
Yeah.
Okay, so I would entertain a motion to accept, to place and recommend Article 16 as read and explained by Kenny Mitchell.
So moved.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Further questions? Any other questions? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
5-0, Mary.
How about 13 and 14?
You want me to do 13?
Let me do
that's-
21, and then I think highway's done.
Kenny has one more.
Right,
highway.
Oh.
Bob?
Yeah,
Let me do one more.
Where is it?
that's
Yeah,
21
I'm
on
gonna do
page
this one.
7.
One more is the highway, and that's
Page
it.
7, yeah.
Article 21, to see if the town will vote to transfer from available funds a sum of money to purchase a new cutting head for the town's trackless vehicle. Explanation, the highway department's trackless machine is utilized for snow removal and roadside mowing. There is a great deal of wear and tear to this vehicle as subject to over the course of many years. The existing brush arm is sufficient to receive a new head, and this course of action is significantly more cost-effective than replacing the entire brush arm. This equipment is required to maintain the roadway visibility and keeping the roadways safe. Now, Bob, that clears the sidewalks, right? And during snow, and then,
Some of them, where it fits, yeah.
Cuts the grass with the.
and then cuts
high.
with the big arm on that.
The problem we've had is keeping the thing running. We've picked up a secondhand brush arm from Kingston, we use it for parts, but I priced out the whole arm and the price was $28,000.
Wow.
So I have an estimated price of $10,000 just for the head.
Okay.
I think we can do that.
How old's the machine itself?
It's over 20 years old, so I don't
Is
want
it?
to spend a lot of,
How much does a new one cost?
probably close to 200,000, so.
Oh, we'll take the 10.
So you've given an estimate of 10, but you're thinking it's gonna be coming in at 28. roughly.
No, the whole arm itself, assembly, is 28,000.
28, so you're just
The
replacing
end
part of
head
it.
is
I get
10.
it. Just the head you're talking
Right.
about.
Yeah,
The end of it.
right around 10,000, so
I got you now. Okay, Rob.
give or take 1,000.
Yep. So I would entertain a motion to place and recommend Article 21.
So moved.
So move. Second.
Further questions? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
5-0, thank you, Bob. I think that covers you.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, could we now go over Article 2, which is a
Yeah.
supplemental budget?
Supplemental budget, 'cause it impacts so many others.
There may be questions that
Yeah.
the people who gather here today could, this evening, could answer, so that we can take advantage of their presence.
Yeah, so Article 2 reads, "To see if the town will vote to transfer from available funds or raise and appropriate a sum of money to supplement appropriations previously voted at the annual town meeting of May 2017 for the fiscal year beginning July 2018 for various town departments, or take any action in relation thereto." The explanation of this is, the purpose of this article is to supplement a number of line items in the current fiscal year budget, fiscal year 18, in order to fund a number of additional expenses. A detailed handout has been presented, as we have here, and it is a total of $153,000. I'll read each item. We read one, the fire chief salaries was $42,452.
That should be fire salaries.
I'm sorry, fire salaries, I
Yeah.
apologize, yep. Library electric expense is $8,000, this is raise and appropriate. Assessors is no amount at this time.
Yeah, we're still working on that.
That's cool, yep. Board of Selectmen is the treasurer contract at $4,000. The COA, and forgive me, what is COA again?
Council on Aging.
Okay. Council on Aging, Elder Affairs salaries of $5,000. Sealer salary is $120, is that correct? Yeah, 120?
Yeah, that was a mistake in the calculations when we did the budget.
Okay,
I was using the wrong year when we calculated, and we totally screwed it up.
and that's what this difference is, gotcha,
Yes.
okay. Treasurer collector OPEB is $15,000. Board of Selectmen is town building expense of $34,000. Highway is expense and drainage at $25,000. The highway salaries is at $8,000. The Board of Health wages is at $6,500. And the library and senior center is the new AED at $1,600. That's the defibrillator, right? $1,600. The library and library salaries is at $4,000, and again, this total is $153,672, which will change once we get the assessor's contract item in there. So I would entertain a motion to accept to place and recommend, actually, should we just place, since we don't know what the assessor's
Yeah,
number
just
is?
place at this point. That, we're working on that figure.
Okay. So I would entertain a motion to place only Article 2 as read.
So moved. Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Further questions? Laura?
Yep, I'm just wondering, for the uninitiated, Mike, can you explain, what the salary line items are, not in, per item, but just generally why we would have them? And then also, I'm wondering if we have an explanation on the town building expense and the drainage expense, if there's, some kind of underlying.
The assessors, the treasurer, we're currently speaking with the two individuals in terms of formulating a contract, so we're negotiating contracts right now. So, we're putting an anticipated maximum sum back into the budget. It's not necessarily going to be that amount, but that's, I'd rather have more in there than not enough and come back and look for more, so.
Okay.
Mary mentioned the sealer's salary. What else do we have here? The highway salaries are to cover contractual stuff we've already agreed to.
Okay.
And the town building expense line. That money will fund the part-time facilities director that we've discussed at the last meeting, which
Okay.
comes under the Board of Selectmen.
And we'll talk more on that later on our agenda, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
And did that cover everything? Did-
Pretty
what about
much,
the-
yeah, I kind of
The
get it.
drainage.
Oh, drainage, yeah.
I thought we, yeah.
Drainage is another 25,000 I asked for to try to play catch-up on structures that need repair. I have 3,000 drainage structures, and right now I'm still running around 70, 72 that in need of repair. It covers parts, material, manpower, so.
So when you're talking drainage structures, again, for the
Catch
uninitiated,
basins, stuff,
okay,
the
I
catch
just wanted to make sure.
basins, yeah.
Okay.
We've
Right.
s- And we've seen some of them fixed along
Yeah,
our areas,
yeah.
but I see some of them more need to be done, obviously,
Oh,
too.
plenty more.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Bob.
Okay, any other questions?
Well, if you're so inclined, you can recommend, if you want, everything with the exception of item 3, and we can go back to that on the 12th, just for the sake of getting this done.
Okay, is there,
If that's you're so inclined.
6 of 1.5 dozen of the other, I think.
you do?
It's
Okay.
6 of 1.5 dozen.
Would you be okay if we just left it, Mike? And we'll-
Yeah,
and when we, when we,
I mean,
we
I'm
can
fine either
re-vote
way.
on it when we open it
Yeah.
next time, and,
Yeah, we've just played with,
yeah,
I'm only concerned about getting it in place so we can get the.
to make sure that it's
warrant,
on the
yeah,
warrant,
totally,
okay.
yeah.
It's not that we don't trust Mike, it's just, then,
I'm fine.
thank you. Bill. Okay, so that does Article 2, that
We
was the
didn't take a vote
preference.
though, right?
Right.
Not yet.
Not yet. The motion has been made and seconded. We just went open for discussion. No further questions? All those in favor say aye. Aye. To place only, Article 2.
I guess I should mention, and I apologize to Laura, there was one more salary line in there. The library. And,
Library and COA.
4,000.
oh, I'm sorry, and the Council on Aging, yeah. We, again, it's not contractual, but we're doing a survey of some positions at the Council on Aging to bring them up to a competitive nature with the area towns. So we anticipate the need for that amount of money to make those adjustments, as well as the library. We had realized some significant savings in some hires and some people that left certain positions, and we are taking a look at funding back some hours to the library operation.
Okay, great, thanks, Mike.
I apologize, I overlooked that.
Oh, it's fine, I just wanted to get a sense
Oh,
of,
sure.
of what would cause it, not necessarily the exact, but,
Yep.
Thanks.
Okay, and we've moved on that one, so we're gonna who else do we have here tonight?
Phil,
Phil.
what Articles 13 and 14?
Well, I see several of interest, including those two. You
Yeah.
may want to start with 12, I don't know.
Is that the appraisal?
Yeah,
Okay, so we have Article 12, which you'll find on page 4.
Yep.
This is to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate or transfer from available funds a sum of money to conduct a commercial appraisal on the former superintendent's building located at 270 High Street, or take any other action in relation thereto. These funds will be used to determine the value of the former house in order to set a bid price prior to auction. So this gives us an idea of how much it's worth.
Right, I think several years ago, town meeting authorized the selectmen to sell it, but then we realized, the committee realized there's a very important step to take before any sale is considered.
Yep.
This is that step,
Okay.
so there it is.
but this is being proposed by the Board of Selectmen, sort of
They're the
vis-à-vis
ones.
the Plymouth County, because the Plymouth County Hospital Reuse Committee is saying, like, here's all the moving parts under the umbrella of the Plymouth County Hospital Reuse.
Yep.
I think you guys need to move on this Board of
Okay.
Selectmen, is
Yeah,
my,
it's basically,
yeah,
don't forget this step.
Yeah, okay,
You authorize
yeah.
to sell, but take this step first, we recommend.
okay.
Kenny?
Is this the same house that we waited because the water department needed the yard to paint the?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
Yep.
okay, off of High Street.
It's called various.
And they didn't use it.
Various things, the street.
Various.
It's hard to miss, but it's
Yeah.
important to, I think, take this
Yeah.
step.
Okay.
So we have to do, even though it's going to auction, we have to do an appraisal?
How would we know otherwise,
How much
without an
it's
independent appraisal, what sort
its
of bids
value
would make
is.
sense?
Yeah, it-
You don't want to expect too high and say no to everyone, or expect too low and sell it too quickly.
It gives us a
You need
baseline.
Professional, independent appraisal value.
Right.
That's the typical way to go.
So we'd have the ability to refuse a bid. If somebody bid it up, we could say, no, we're not gonna sell it?
Oh, if they bid too low, I might refuse.
Well, I
If they
thi-
bid
I think-
higher, I might not refuse.
I'm just wondering, Mike, do we have an opportunity to use the same firm that we're
Yes.
using for the tax?
Yep, that's
Properties.
exactly what I'm looking into
And,
right now.
and wrap that all in so it's
Yes.
one package?
Right.
There
Okay.
is, the reason you don't have a figure there right now is that we're going back and forth in terms of the best way to actually auction this off, because it is different from the tax title takings. It is currently a piece of town property.
Right.
So it's got different rules and regs around it, so, no, so there it is.
What I'm saying is if we
we're
do-
trying to do it, we're trying to roll it all into one, yes.
If we did an appraisal on it, why couldn't we put this up for sale? Why do we have to auction it? Or does the
We-
town, does the
There-
municipality
you have
requires
to
us
do
to? Okay.
That's the Mass General Law.
So, Mike, but I don't see is this just a placeholder and you're getting a final dollar amount for what it will
Yeah,
cost to do this?
you're
Okay.
gonna find some of these don't have final dollar amounts. We just need to, as Mary mentioned, we just need to have you guys agree to place, hopefully all of these. And then we're gonna have another bite at the apple on the 12th
Okay.
for you to go ahead and actually, if you're so inclined, to recommend the articles. And we certainly will have the few that we don't have the amounts for, we certainly will have them by the 12th.
Okay.
So
We
I'm,
still have a little time.
so I'm just going to motion to place it, if that's okay with
Yes.
you guys, because we don't have any amount to it, okay? So keep me honest on those, on these type of articles. So, any further questions? I would entertain a motion to accept Article, to place Article 12 only.
So moved.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. 5-0 to place only, Article 12. And we are going, you said do, what, 12? And I assume you want to do 13 and 14? Is that-
13 and 14.
All right. Article 13 is to see if the town will vote to support the proposed reuse of the former Plymouth County Hospital property as presented by the final Plymouth County Hospital Reuse Committee, or take any other action in relation thereto. And there's no explanation on this one particularly yet, but I believe we're gonna get a presentation at town meeting, is that correct?
Right, and I would preview that by saying that I'm a tad challenged by the way this is written,
Okay,
because it's a little bit vague, and both at our last hospital reuse committee meeting and independent thinking since then, what we don't want to do is, well, a major lesson we've learned over the last 17 years is don't try to do and then recommend too many things all at once.
right.
Last year, we made one big recommendation, remove the old hospital. Now we're at the point of looking at a park and a couple of secondary things. We wouldn't want to give the public the impression that we'd be giving a presentation with all the final answers.
Right.
And everyone please say yes or no. That's not possible, it's not feasible, but we are at a next round, if you will, of recommendations that will be made. And I would hope that we find a way, both in the article or in some other mechanism, to basically seek affirmation from the voters that these recommendations make sense, and that you as a board would be encouraged to accept the recommendations of the committee. There may be other thoughts too here.
At this point, Mr. Chairman, as I think we might have touched upon earlier in individual conversations, I am working with town council to do exactly as Phil mentioned. We're looking for more or less a non-binding sort of referendum affirmation vote. We went back and forth with the best ways that we could possibly do something like this, because I know it's this board's strong desire to have town meeting, to have the townspeople chime in, to make sure at the very end this is the direction in which they wish us to go. As the board has discussed with the reuse committee, it seems that at this point, the primary reuse of at least a portion of that land is for a park. So we will be seeking, again, some sort of non-binding affirmation from the townspeople in regards to that particular use. Coupled with that, and there will be a little bit of a better explanation. I started writing it up, but it's not really there right now, obviously. But in addition to that, what we will be doing is we will be passing out at town meeting a survey, a very short survey. The town had Old Colony do such a survey several years ago, and it was all encompassing, stem to stern, the whole kitchen sink. During the course of Phil's group and Don's group's conversations and discussions, also before the Board of Selectmen, it's been really narrowed down to about 4 or 5 additional possible uses. So we will put the survey in that sort of a narrow scope to say, okay, we're going to move on. We believe that we're going to move on with a park use, and now these are the remaining possible uses. What do you feel about it? How do you feel about it? How would you rank it? Phil and I are going to write something up together. We're going to make it available at town meeting. We're going to ask people to fill it out and leave it there. But we're also going to seek a stuffer in the Express, as well as promote it at the Council on Aging and the library here at Town Hall. Try to get as much feedback as possible.
And that's the goal, really, because we don't want to just limit it to the 100 or so people who show up at town meeting,
Yes.
but to put it out there to everybody, right?
Right.
At least give them the option for their input, so that makes
I would
sense.
add that what we're doing is, we have different ideas that are different stages of development in terms of having thoroughly explored the feasibility, or still seeking to be thorough in exploring that. The ones that are furthest along and that have been vetted the most internally, we would like the public to, like I said, to chime in on, to make sure that we're justified in feeling as comfortable as we are
Yeah.
in making that next round of recommendations. There may be other things that are not yet sufficiently developed that will be talked about in the future. So again, this won't be every answer to every question on every square foot, but it will be the next round of things that we hope people would be encouraged by and wish to say something about.
Sure. Mr.
And
Howard?
just to remind all the taxpayers in town, you've already spent roughly $2 million to purchase that land. You bought it back 20 years ago from the Plymouth County Commissioners. And also, we just put almost $1 million into it to take down the hospital. So anything to be done with that on the private sector afterwards, they'd have to start off with a $2 million buy bill, and then
Move.
their extra money to buy the purchase of whatever land is left there. So just make sure the taxpayer knows that, so
Okay.
when they make the decisions, when they
Yep.
want to try to make, whatever they want to make out of it. I just felt it's better to have the townspeople make a decision.
Sure.
And not have the 5 of us make a decision.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, I agree.
Laura?
Okay, so are you saying that one of these articles is going to say, okay, folks at town meeting, do you want us to move forward with the park for part of that property? And then as a secondary piece, we're going to break out 4 or 5 options of use for the rest of the land? Or did I I thought I had seen that in a prior version of the articles or something, where it
Yeah.
specifically
I
said
had
park?
you're right.
Okay.
I had an explanation at the bottom of various options, and then Mike
Okay.
said we wanted to pull that and put something else in.
Okay.
So you did see that.
There really is no vehicle by which to craft an article at town meeting that would allow the choice of options. The options will come, as I mentioned, via the survey that will be passed out.
Okay, but what about is there going to be an explicit request to fund something that's going to continue forward movement at Plymouth County Hospital vis-a-vis, I thought I saw something saying an engineering study for a park, or...
That was the second water tower, that's the
yeah,
next article.
Okay,
Well,
No, she's right, because I read this, she's right, I read the same thing.
yeah,
Yep.
But the one I think that you saw before, which is not on there anymore, we had already funded that through a different source. The concern was that it may not have been fully explained in public, and we didn't want to get into, or there were people that were concerned that we didn't want to necessarily expend funds that hadn't been discussed in public. However, we have discussed on several occasions that amount of money, where the money's coming from, and what that money will do. So it really was superfluous at that point.
Okay, so for the purposes of this town meeting, we're gonna have some mechanism really that isn't necessarily even tied into this warrant, both at town meeting and extracurricular to the town meeting, to solicit feedback from people on how they would like to have that property used, which is great, because that's what the prior Board of Selectmen had made a commitment to do. And, you know, that was one of the sequential steps, and I do think that it's important, even though I think anecdotally we can probably all guess how it's gonna wind up, but you never know, we could be surprised. But is there going to be anything to move anything forward, aside from the water tower thing, on this property at the next town meeting?
Yes, there will be, and Phil can explain it better than I can. There is a, at the next town meeting?
At this town meeting.
Oh, this town meeting. There's also a request to ask community preservation for some money to move forward in doing some boundary work, some finding and identifying existing infrastructure, things that would need to be done regardless of what the future use is going to be. And
Okay, but we don't have any articles from CPC in here.
If I may, Mr. Chairman, I was searching this in vain for an article that anticipated a request for CPC funds for the next phase of park planning, and I do not see that here.
That would
CPC
be the next Article 14. I put it under the final Plymouth County Hospital Committee.
I don't see the word CPC in that. and it
No,
would
you
need
don't,
to be.
because I don't have anything from CPC.
Right.
And I heard from Tom, and Tom says, is he confused? I said, no, maybe it was my confusion. I put it on as a placeholder. So if this money is gonna be, is that what your plan is? That
Well, this is our hope.
engineering
Our
money?
last CPC meeting, we identified a fairly ambitious, but we think doable schedule for our committee to work with the selectmen to prepare, because the pre-application for CPC funds was approved by CPC in August. The actual application, the full application, the very strong hope is to have one prepared by early September, such that CPC can approve it, and then it can appear before the voters in October. We realize that's an ambitious schedule, but that's what we spoke of at the last CPC meeting.
So do you have a placeholder from Tom Hickey for a CPC
That's,
article?
That's
Article
14.
14 is
Okay,
it.
so in other
I
words-
just put it under final Plymouth County Hospital Committee because I wasn't sure other CPC was
Okay.
going to be ready to do that.
Okay, because it's important, because as I mentioned to Jim, CPC is the only committee that can recommend
CPC
expenditure of
funds. Right.
CPC funds. It's sacrosanct, and it has to stay that way. So as long as Tom has said that's, and then they can always pull it anyway,
Right.
if they decide they're not gonna vote that way or whatever.
As recently as
Yeah.
a couple hours ago, one of the other members of our committee, we were working with this very set of information on a CPC application, such that the board could be comfortable having that go ahead. In other words, the content of the application is in development as we speak.
Okay.
And it's necessary, but I would summarize by saying that no one should make the mistake of thinking that planning a park is a one-step process.
Right.
Multi-step. There's draft plans and visions, and then there's other
No,
things.
totally understood, but at least we're taking steps towards the final.
Right, and much as was said about another article, what we wouldn't want to do is next spring find ourselves ready to engage a commercial park and realize we have no funds.
Right.
There need to be, a good word I saw in some summary of the previous meeting was, get the lay of the land, where the footprint of a park would go. And that way, if we do some things with CPC funds, the planning will be that much more efficient and more quickly getting to our goals.
Okay, but you're working with CPC, they're all over it, you guys will tidy up the language
Right,
and.
thank you for clarifying. This Article 14 probably will be tweaked a bit.
Yeah, this, as Mary
Yeah, it's gonna be
mentioned.
very specific if it's coming from CPC.
Yeah, and
Yes.
as Mary mentioned, this is merely a placeholder at this point, as some of these things are. The language isn't exact, the language needs to be tuned up. However, as Mary mentioned, we really haven't gotten any official feedback, although we expect it, from CPC. So just by the fact that the line is there that says, or transfer from available funds a sum of money, that would encompass at least the notion that there is an additional potential source of some funds, which again is CPC.
Okay.
So again, this is something that will be tuned up, but again, we had to close the warrant tonight. We didn't want to assume anything.
Yeah,
Mike, are we talking 13 or 14 now?
well, we're both,
14.
unfortunately.
All right, 'cause
Yeah, we
I'm-
jumped over
I-
14.
okay.
I don't know if we moved on 13.
I just wanted to ask Phil
I think so.
a question about 13, because we haven't finished with 13 yet.
No.
Right.
And I'd like to get this wrapped up, but I'm pretty sure Mary Ann said a couple weeks ago that you were going to make a presentation at town meeting.
That is still anticipated, another update to the public of where we are with.
Okay, so then with 13, all you're asking the selectmen is to make that presentation. Am I correct?
Well, I don't know, I didn't write what's in front of us for Article 13.
So that the people could see and then the people could decide.
Well, there needs to be, we need to figure out if you're asking them to decide a yes or no, which is what votes at town meeting are for, yes, we'll do this, no, we won't.
Right.
Or, as Mike said, do we find some mechanism, and maybe it wouldn't even be quite like an order, we want their affirmation that this next round of recommendations makes sense to them, the voters.
And again,
And
that's
I don't
the
know-
way it will
That's
be
all.
written. We
Okay.
do not want to write this as a yes or no.
I don't know
We want to write
myself.
this as an affirmation.
This article might not quite look this way, or if it even is in.
And again, we're talking back and forth with town council on the right way to do something
Yes.
like
Okay,
that.
so this is just a
Okay.
placeholder for that, because you're right.
Yes, yes.
According to the last meeting, there were 7 options that were under consideration: municipal park, water tower easement, solar array, superintendent's residence, recreational trail access, residential site, informant center. So basically, we want some sort of a affirmation of direction from the public, saying this is the way that we want to go. Because you're right, we can't put in one article all these options, because if I want 2 and I don't want the other 5,
Yeah.
then the answer's gonna be no, right?
Well, the
Plus,
way-
he doesn't know, you don't know the cost behind all of those articles either, you know,
It's very early in the
Yeah.
development of most of these ideas.
Okay.
Right.
We're starting to get an idea, but we aren't there yet.
Okay,
And of course, from the sense of practicality, the Board of Selectmen created the reuse committee to come up with options and recommendations, which it then places before the Board of Selectmen. That has occurred insofar as the reuse as a public park is concerned. They placed that before, I think it was the previous board. The previous board endorsed it and told them to go forth with that sort of an idea. However, prior to going too much further down the road, it has also been the Board of Selectmen's desire to get some sort of feedback from the public as to, are we going in the direction that you wish? However, as the chairman points out, and as I mentioned at one point, we really don't have a mechanism through town meeting to give them, we can't move an article with various different options.
Right.
It's not a multiple choice. That's not the way these articles work. So again, in all practicality, there's been a lot of work done by this board and by the board that both Don and Phil serve on, and then they've come up with a recommendation of a park. There will be other uses going forward because we have an awful lot of space up there. We have other thoughts on what to use other parcels for up there. However, we've reached a point where we need to know, we need to move forward one way or the other. The town's been, I think they've been somewhat confounded for quite a number of years as to what to do with that particular piece of land. We've reached a point where I think some very good minds have put in an awful lot of effort and made the suggestion that we put in a park. That's what I believe we should be asking the townspeople. And as was mentioned, we'll follow up on those other potential uses that we've kind of narrowed out through a survey. And then that perhaps will be the next thing that the subcommittee works on.
and you're working with town council, that's the
Oh,
important
yes,
thing.
yes.
So this particular article
Place.
is more of a place,
You're much-
just a
I don't
placeholder.
even
Yes,
see how we
please.
can vote to place, because the language isn't
Yeah.
even completely accurate. It's completely meaningless based upon the conversation we just had. I'm not trying to be difficult, and I'm not pointing fingers at all. I understand how we got
I
where
agree
we are.
100%.
but I just, I don't, in all good
It's too
conscience, I
vague.
can't even
It's-
vote to place.
Okay, but here's the problem. If you don't put this as a place item in here, because you can always bypass it at town meeting.
What's our drop dead date for voting to place?
Well, we could, I believe, Murray.
I think we ought to place it tonight, and then
I
just
could
to have it
squeeze, I
there.
could squeeze it on, I mean, the next time we meet, we're gonna have to sign the warrant. So any changes, you'll have to come back the next day to sign the warrant, so I can make whatever changes. I
Okay.
need something.
But we can bypass this if we don't.
But the thing is, though, we're voting to, can somebody more clearly articulate right here and now what those articles will be, based on the premise that CPC will come forward with what Mary Ann had
Right.
presented to us a meeting or so ago, and that they'd support that, of which, you know, Mary's saying she talked to Tom, I believe, or, you know,
The way I read the article, it says, as presented by the final Plymouth County Hospital Reuse Committee. So my understanding is that a presentation or something will be presented from them to support this article.
On the 12th, you will be presented, as I mentioned, not only with cleaned up language on several of these articles that you've already voted to place, but you also will be presented with the figures that are not available just yet.
Okay.
The notion is to make sure that we have a place on this warrant for that sort of a question.
Okay.
okay, and I really hate to be redundant and keep asking this, but what exactly is Article 13? What are we saying? What is it that the Plymouth County Hospital Reuse Committee wants to do? I want
The
to know.
way I read it, they want to build a park.
What
Okay.
if he
Because
just,
Mary Ann made that presentation 2 weeks ago, and she had said then that this is what they're going to present to the townspeople at the town meeting.
Okay, because I thought that Article 14, which is the one that's going to be funded by CPC,
Yes.
was regarding the park engineering study, which then leaves me back to my question, which is what the heck is?
It is not a park engineering study. As I mentioned, it is to basically take a look at the grounds
Okay,
based on whatever potential reuse to include a
Okay.
park. We would be looking at better defining the boundaries.
That-
We would be
Yeah.
looking at better identifying the existing and non-existing infrastructure, whether that be a solar field, a park, a new water tower. So that's what that
okay,
is
that's
for.
for Article 14, right?
14, yes.
Okay, I understand. That's what Mary Ann presented. I gave Mary Ann some feedback on that and sent it on to Tom Hickey as well. So I get 14. So what is 13?
I think 13 is what pretty much what Jim said also, that they know that they want to go forward with the park. But Donnie, did you want to say something?
no, I was just gonna say, on the engineering one, the next one that people are talking about, when they first started the committee, we were passed out a plan of all the property up there that was done back when they bought it from Plymouth County Hospital.
Yeah.
That whole area, the 55 acres area up there, is down now in Plymouth County Registry of Deeds. The bounds are all in there of all the intersections and roadways and so forth, so that the engineering part, as far as I can see, is done. That's all recorded in Plymouth County.
Okay.
The only engineering I think we're thinking about, and
Is
we're
the
talking
second one
about,
down.
is the topo of the area, the way it goes up and down hills. Where something could be built, where something could be constructed.
Okay, all right.
And that's what we're talking about, that.
Okay.
I would offer, just quickly, there may be a need for two articles, because one may be for the CPC funds, which needs
Which
very
is 14.
specific action, which is sort of a de facto referendum on do we want a park or don't we? And there may be a need for a separate article for engineering or other types of activity on the non-park, non-CPC funded
Okay,
ideas.
Right.
fair enough.
We
Yeah.
don't totally know how to word it yet.
Right.
But you might need two articles for that reason.
And
Both
that-
CPC related?
No.
Well, it
No.
depends on what you'd be looking,
Again,
Yeah.
it's too early in the development, some of the others, there may be a housing CPC
Okay.
thing down the road, but we aren't there yet.
okay. And since you potentially could be using the non-park portion, of course, this is all hypothetical, but
Yes.
the non-park portion for something other than a CPC permissible expense, then you'd need to cut them. Okay, split them. I got you. Okay.
Kenny?
I don't know why we're hurrying, I think we need to pump the brakes a little bit on this. You know, I think there's multiple uses for that property. You know, right now, we're not sure what we're doing, and to hurry up and to go to October, I just think, it took us 10 years to take that building down. We did a great job
20.
taking it down. Okay, 20. And now, all of a sudden, within 6 months, now we have to just make a decision quickly. I think we need to pump the brakes, slow down, and figure out the multiple different things that we can do with that property.
Personally, I couldn't agree more with that exact statement. We're trying to not do everything at once. What we're doing, we've made a major decision. I think that overall, the town of Hanson has what I would call hospital fatigue. And what we're trying to do now is recover and say, like, one dose at a time, replace that with something that would rejuvenate the community. We don't know what every prescription will be like, but we think we know after removal of the hospital, it's, we think we know what the next prescription will look like. It should be like, prepare for a park. But again, we have not got sufficient development of every single idea to place it before the people. We need to be very careful for them to know what we're recommending to the selectmen and where we are with other things. The presentation, I hope, will be very clear. We're making another recommendation that's clear. We recommend a partly CPC-funded park effort, which has been ongoing now for the better part of a year. There are other important things, not CPC related. For example, footprint of the water tower area. I think that the water tower is the single most important use of that whole property. That's present and maybe a second to water tower in the future. Hanson is well served by that. Without it, we'd be nowhere. But yes, there are other things which we're not ready to recommend ourselves, so how could we ask voters to recommend? There will be, I hope, a careful description of what's firmly recommended and what might be coming later. We don't know.
I think you're better off with a survey, finding out what to do with that, than creating an article asking for multiple uses for that property.
We have 17 years' worth of internal, external, consultant, and other surveys. We've surveyed ourselves to death. What we're looking for now is there are some ideas, a short list of ideas that have survived all of these years of review, including the year and a half of our committee's effort. We think there are good ideas that deserve to be very specifically recommended. There's some others that might come along soon when we're ready. But no, we have no desire to rush.
Okay.
But we also feel we have some specific things we want to present.
But you're not pulling the trigger on a park right now.
No.
This is just laying
Direction.
groundwork. Like, you'd have to do this whether there's a park up there or not. You're doing some preliminary kind of work.
You're not going to
Right.
do anything with the
Okay.
jungle.
I
That's
think
all.
I could better address your concern, because as I look at this article, there was a little bit more wording in there that didn't get into this particular one in your hands.
Which one?
But it
13?
was in the other one.
13.
Right?
Okay.
To see if the town will vote to support the proposed reuse of a section of the former Plymouth County Hospital property as a public park, as presented by the final Plymouth County Hospital Reuse Committee, blah, blah, blah.
Okay, so.
Can you read that
It's
again,
more
Mike?
specific.
Just one more time, if you don't mind.
To see if the town will vote to support the proposed reuse of a section of the former Plymouth County Hospital property as a public park, as presented by the final Plymouth County Hospital Reuse Committee.
That's better than what's in front of us.
I don't know how this is written, but that's better.
Okay. I
We
think,
had rewritten
Mr.
it
Chair,
in the various
whole
versions
area.
that we've been throwing around.
All right, okay.
I'm sorry, but I think this is the solution to this problem, Mr. Chairman. The way that article right there is written,
Yes.
I would support it, because it's still going back out to the people if they want to park or not.
Okay.
In a section of
But it's saying a section, so it's
Yeah.
not supporting the
I
whole
agree.
area.
So
Right.
just to
No.
recap, guys, okay, just to recap. I think we're all in agreement, I think, to what, Mike, you said. And we
Yep.
also said that what we want to do is place this until that language is cleaned up and in this, okay?
Yes, and that is
Are
the
we good?
language, again, that's the way the
yes.
language should look in front of you right now. That is the
doesn't.
language that I sent to town council.
Yeah.
It may be tweaked a little bit,
Yeah.
like I said, because I want to make sure that it's a non-binding sort of question.
Yep, that's okay, Mike, I think the
So
problem.
hopefully that
That's
answers
what-
your concern.
It does answer my concerns. I just ask that you blackline the changes, so that we know what you changed and we don't have to use a decoder ring to figure it out.
Okay, so I would entertain a motion to place Article 13 on the warrant.
So move. Second.
Place only, guys, right?
Yeah.
Motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor, say aye.
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 5-0. If we can get that language, Mary. Mike, why didn't you say that in the beginning?
I just started reading.
I'm kidding you, Mike. I'm
As Laura's saying that, I'm like, what is
No,
told us that 15 minutes ago,
Did I
Mike.
say, oh,
The problem
I
is,
thought I was losing it. I'm like, this is completely different than what I read this morning.
Same thing, I'm like,
I got nervous because I'm thinking the way Jim is. I thought I heard public. I'm kidding.
Okay, well,
Okay.
there we go.
All right, to see if the town, now,
Thank you.
Yeah.
moving on to Article 14.
Oh, great.
Mike, do you have anything you want to read on this one, Mike?
I think we kind of already touched upon it.
yeah.
We did.
I think
Okay.
you're right.
So
Mr.
I will,
Howard
I
wanted me
will, I will correct it by being proposed by CPC.
Okay.
You get the correct verbiage from
On
CPC,
Article
so we get
14.
the
Yeah.
proper funding source.
Okay.
Because as Laura points out, you have to be very specific if the money's coming from CPC.
That's right, and it has to be approved by CPC first before it comes to us. And before it
Which I
goes to
think we
town.
have every indication, you know, they've been talking to Phil, they've mentioned it to Mary. We have every indication, but as
So
a
I'm good with a place
formality,
on that.
yeah.
Okay,
Just for
so
placement.
what did you want to say?
Yes, just the place.
Mr. Howard just wanted to remind you that you skipped over the first.
Number
three
1 and
sentences.
3.
Yes, I promise you I
He
will.
Just wanted me to tell you.
Why, does he want to get out early? No? Okay. All right, because I see Joe there, and I think you got 2, right, Joe? Okay, so we're getting on to you soon. Article 14. I'm going to read it anyway, so I would recommend to place, entertain a motion to place Article 14 to see if the
So
town
moved.
will vote to raise and appropriate or transfer from available fund a sum of money to
Second.
provide engineering plans for various uses at the former Plymouth County Hospital. This will be
Thought Kenny was
modified, so
gonna
this is a
So I
place
wait
only.
till the chairman finished.
This is a
reading it,
second
but-
water tower and potential resident sites on Pierce Ave.
You should probably just say it in Latin.
the
Because that's how
explanation is-
relevant
That's how
it's gonna be.
Okay.
Yeah.
No
All right,
more,
It's gonna
I just
be-
wanted to, I just wanted to make sure.
explanations, Jim.
If it, you know what, if it stirs up 5 more people to show up at town meeting, all the better for it, right?
So moved.
Okay, moved and seconded.
Second.
Further discussion? So bring in the dead horse and beat it? No?
No, we already motioned it,
All
but that's
those in
okay.
favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Just to place, Article
Worked.
14. Place only, done.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, there was one, I think, Phil, are you still here for the Conservation Commission one?
I absolutely am. I was hoping that we wouldn't lose that in shuffle. And that number is where?
I think I saw that on to
34?
34.
34, right? Okay, yes, I have it here.
So we'll do 33 while we're on that
Town
page.
Forest?
We'll do
Yeah.
33 as a town
Yeah, we'll
forest.
do that one too.
Oh, that too, yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. No worries. That
You
one
don't
should
need
be,
the explanation.
yeah.
Nothing.
Okay, so on page 11, to see if, Article 33, to see if the town will vote to dissolve the Hanson Town Forest Committee. This has been recommended by the Town Forest Committee, and there's a lengthy explanation. I think we understand what this was for, so. Are there any comments or questions to this?
And of course, this is in furtherance of the,
Of what the public wanted?
Committee consolidation and
Yes. Yep.
effectiveness.
Yep.
Probably
Yeah.
the sunsetting of this.
Is this recommended in place?
This would be to recommend and place. Thank you, Mr. Howard. Yes, I would entertain that motion.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Further discussion or questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
5-0, to place and recommend. Article 34, to see if the town will vote to place the property identified as Assessor's Map 105, Parcel 7, under the care and custody of the Conservation Commission for the purpose of wildlife, recreation, and forestry, or to take any other action thereto. This is a Conservation Commission proposal, and I believe this is land along Brook Street, isn't that right?
Wetlands, it's not buildable.
Wetlands,
Correct.
so that we can all go fishing along there in the public too.
Indian
right?
Head River?
It's one of the-
Absolutely, yes.
It's one of the tax takings.
It's
Yep.
a tax number. There's 400 feet of frontage on the brook.
Yep,
The entire parcel is within protection of the Rivers Protection Act.
yep.
Most of it's covered by the Wetlands Protection Act. If anyone wanted to develop it, I would hate to pay for the legal fees to have those battles, so we can both avoid that and expedite the public's enjoyment and protect that corridor as indicated.
And the good thing is, we've learned our lesson from Arlene Street way back when too, right?
We have learned a lot of lessons, we hope, and that's why we proposed the article.
Is it standalone or contiguous to any other wetlands that are in conservation right now?
It's in the corridor, there's a couple of intervening parcels. It's actually only a short distance from here to the Webster Billings Conservation Area, which is downstream. And upstream, there's many acres, probably about 60 or 70 acres of conservation land. Nearby, not directly touching, but it's all part of the open space concept of protecting the corridor.
Okay.
Yeah, I wish I know you gave at one of the meetings the parcel, but it makes sense. It would be a benefit to the public to have this land, folks,
This
honestly.
is low-hanging fruit for the
Yes,
public.
yeah. Okay, I would entertain a motion to accept Article 34.
So
Place and recommend.
So moved.
Second.
Place and recommend. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
5-0.
Jim, may I just mention one thing?
Absolutely.
I think it's important for people to note, because a lot of times people think we're putting pieces of property into conservation that are pieces of property that the town could sell or make money out of. This has been deemed to be a piece of property that could not be sold to be developed.
Right.
So it's important that this isn't anything that was ever gonna be back on the tax rolls, for any good purposes.
I like the fact that we can all go there and fish if we need to, without anybody kicking us off the land. So, all right. All right, I think that takes care of you, Phil. Joe, you're next.
I would like to ask, if there's any recommendation at town meetings or any possibility you could have a handout to show people where that parcel is?
Right, I already made a handout, conservation looked at, we'll just
You'll just
pop it up
give-
and make copies.
Yeah. I don't know if you can make a small one and attach it to the warrant, maybe.
Sure, it's 8.5 by 11, it's
Or
not big.
even just something to hand out, if you can ask Beth if you could hand it out. I think-
Easily done.
yeah.
Easily.
Yeah, can you put on the counter, any
Yeah.
handouts can go on the counter. if you
That's a
want.
good idea.
I think that's a great idea, Joe, because a lot of times people complain that they don't know where the properties are, so.
I had one
Yeah.
from last time, I didn't bring it, I'm sorry.
But this is that's a great idea, we'll do it.
Yep.
All right, thank you, that's awesome.
So you're dismissed, Mr. Clemens, or welcome to stay, it's up to you.
Thanks for being on for a while.
Let's
Night,
move to
Phil.
Joe.
See you tomorrow.
We've got two, Article 40 and 41 from the planning department, is that correct?
Was it 40 and 41? I don't know.
Yes, sir.
It was given to the chairman who is, if everybody hasn't heard,
This
he
talks,
has- he
this,
just had a new baby.
We just had a
oh,
new baby.
congratulations, yeah.
Mr. Weeks is here, and I
This is
am.
Joe, yeah, Weeks, oh, cool.
Did he have another girl?
Yeah. Yep,
Another girl.
another girl.
Goodness.
God
Can you
love.
believe that?
I'm not going to go into detail on the itemized items. I will read the general description and the permitted. This is an article to say that to see if the town will vote to amend the Town of Hanson, County of Plymouth, Massachusetts Land Use Regulations Zoning Bylaw, Section 7, by deleting subsections E signs and F temporary signs and replacing said sections with following and/or other action relative thereto. And you talk about permitted and prohibited signs, and you also talk about signs requiring sign site plan review. So there's quite a lengthy item if you guys have had time to see them. I've read some of these. I would entertain any questions to anything on these. Laura?
Can you bottom line what the changes are for us?
Sure, absolutely. A lot of it's just housekeeping. It's also bringing the jurisdiction in to give the zoning enforcement agency a little bit more clarification on what signs are allowed and what signs are not allowed in the town. And it gives them the opportunity to go out. Some towns around us have been starting to place tapes and stuff across the signs saying illegal signs and things like that. So it's just clarifying the zone bylaw for us as far as signage goes, you know, so we're not seeing all kinds of just crazy signs everywhere. There's actually-
Especially the yard sale sign, it says here they'd have to be out there for no more than 3 consecutive days, right?
Right.
'Cause I
No
can't
more
tell you how many of
perpetual
those-
yard sales.
And along those lines, we would have to, if this article passes, we'll have to go back and adjust the general bylaw, which actually talks about 2 consecutive days for yard sales, so we'll have to just true all that up.
Okay. Also talks about signs on any posted trees, not allowed anymore, right? Fence or utility pole?
That's correct. A lot of times Edison's going out now, and if they see a sign on a pole, they're taking it down themselves,
Right.
so it's
And
kind of.
who's responsible for enforcing these regulations?
Right now, it's with our zoning enforcement officer, so that would be,
Building committee.
That would be Mr. Curran?
that's right, that's correct.
Well,
Okay.
current, wow, like, he's not enough to do.
Right.
But be the
Right.
sign police, yeah.
Right, all right.
Wow.
Well, and if I'm not mistaken, you get into kind of a gray area there when you're taking signs down off of telephone poles, since we don't own the poles.
Right.
So I generally think that National Grid would be more than happy for us to do it, but I know I did run into in a previous community an issue about, you know, who has the right to, obviously, they don't have the right to post anything on those poles.
Right.
Right.
But do we have the right to take those things down off the poles? So it might be something that, you know, Bob's already taken a look at it and spoken to National Grid about, but I'll just double check on that.
Okay.
One of the
And
things we were talking about last night at our last meeting was to make recommendations to public notification about if you see a sign that's on a pole like that, maybe put it on the National Grid
yeah.
call and contact.
What about signs on fences if a person owns the fence?
It's a kind of a gray area, it's a little brackish area, that's been up for discussion, because it's personal property.
Yeah.
If it doesn't meet the signage of 3 foot by 5 foot, then it's definitely gonna be taken down. But if it's within the limitations of the signs of the recommendations that we have in this bylaw, that it's probably gonna end up staying, and just put in maybe a few day placement to the people that own the property, and let them know,
Okay.
you're within the sign size, but we're gonna put a timestamp on it.
Yeah. Yeah, that was another issue on political signs. I see there's a section in here for that, so we encourage everybody to read that
That's
and
right.
understand.
Mhm.
We'll be reiterating that around.
Elections?
And every year after that.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so I would entertain a motion to place and recommend, unless any objection, Article 40.
So moved.
Second.
Made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We encourage people to come to town meeting and make sure they read these changes. Next article is Article 41, to see if the town will vote to amend the Town of Hanson, County of Plymouth, Massachusetts Land Use Regulation Zoning Bylaw, Section 7, by adding subsection G7, sign site plan review as follows. And in here is also lengthy. Joe, do you want to just give us a quick recap of this?
I believe this is the article that's going to change the site plan review and make it over to the planning board as far as the approving authority.
Okay.
Again, housekeeping article, something that's kind of missing, a couple of holes in different places that we wanted to tighten up.
This is good. So this is where we have a kind of gap in our current issue, right? So that where the zoning board of appeals reviews it, now it also has to go to the planning board, is that
That's
correct? On plan site reviews. I think that's a great idea, because this helps, corrects any infrastructure issues that could be, where the zoning board of appeals, these folks may not be their, their purview, right, their forte, whatever, right? So this is great. Mike, this is one of those cleanup items that we want, right? All right. Johnny, did you have something to say?
No, nothing.
Anybody else? Have any questions?
It's good.
All right, I would entertain a motion to accept Article 41.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
5-0. Nice job. Now we have our work cut out for us. Thanks, Joe.
You back to one?
We have to go.
Finish that sheet while you're on it.
We've been all over the world and back again.
Well, now I'm gonna go back to one.
One.
All right, I'm gonna start at one, and we're gonna go through and make sure we didn't miss anything.
See you later,
Donnie,
Joe.
you can yell at me if I do miss
Good night.
anything, right?
Do you want me, Mr. Chairman, just to move through the Board of Selectmen ones very quickly?
If you can, that would be great.
I can. Article 1 is basic, again, housekeeping. We don't have very much in terms of money that we need to go back after for bills of a prior year, and it does require a 9/10 vote.
All those, I entertain a motion to accept Article 1.
So moved.
Second.
Made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Five
Gotta
zero.
recommend too?
Place and recommend. Good question, Donnie. Yes.
Mike, Article 2?
We already did 2.
We did 2.
Moving on to 3.
Article 3 is pretty self-explanatory. We'll ask town meeting to fund union contracts that we'll hopefully have all of them done by now. We've got 3 done. I fully anticipate having all 5 done.
Okay. I would entertain a motion to accept Article 3.
So moved.
Second.
Made and seconded.
That's to place only?
Place
Place and
and recommend, or what are we thinking, guys?
There's no money attached yet.
Yeah.
There's
I'd
no
like to
money
just
yet.
place
So let's
it.
just place only.
Yep.
Place only. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
5-0 to place only.
Okay, why don't we go to Article 8? The police chief is not here. I will speak in his stead. It's basically, it's pretty self-explanatory. We need $10,000 to replace and improve the current security management system. It's been recommended by not only the police chief, but our new IT people. And I believe even the school IT people were recommending this too before we switched over.
And this is an estimated amount of $10,000.
Yes.
I would entertain a motion to place and recommend
So
Article.
moved.
Second.
Made and seconded. Comments, questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
5-0.
Article 9 is somewhat similar. We've come to find that we do not have an adequate backup and disaster recovery system. The new IT firm pointed that out to us. Obviously, it's very crucial we have something like that.
This is for all our software, right, Mike?
Yes.
Is there money attached to that, Mike?
Yeah, there
25,000.
Yeah, there should have been. Yeah,
25K.
Was it missing on the explanation?
It's not,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's not there. So it's for 25,000.
Okay. I would entertain a motion to place and recommend Article 9 for the amount of 25,000 and
So
also as
moved.
read.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
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 5-0, as long as it's 25, we're good.
Article 10 is to request an estimated $12,000 to go through a classification study for the administrative positions here at Town Hall. It's been quite some time since something like that has been done. In my opinion, we don't have a really fully done classification plan. So it really makes sense for us to get a good idea of not only where people should be placed in comparison, again, with their peers in other communities, but also to put together a more comprehensive job description. So it's all encompassing.
And that estimated amount is 12,000.
12,000, yes.
So I would entertain a motion to place and recommend Article 10.
So moved.
Second.
Made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
5-0.
Don, did you?
Mike, are you doing?
Yeah,
Yeah, you did.
I voted.
Did you want, did you want to do Article 11, or am I doing that one?
No,
That was BOS also.
That's the
oh,
appraisal of the
didn't we discuss that, or?
No.
did we
the
not discuss
assessment of,
that
this is
one?
McQuon School.
Oh, I'm
And we want to
sorry.
make sure we clear up the word assessment, right? I mean.
Yeah, the word assessment won't be in there, it's appraisal. We do have the old assessments of the status of the building from a few years ago.
That was my question, too.
Yep,
Oh, okay, so it's just gonna be the appraisal?
the appraisal,
All right,
yep,
that would be a
Yep.
lot cheaper.
yep.
So,
Do we have a ballpark?
We do not have, actually, oddly enough, the town accountant has experience with this in other communities and is reaching out to a vendor to get a estimate as to what to put in. So for now, I just
Place.
request you to place it.
Okay, all right.
motion to place Article 11 as read. Place only.
So moved.
Second.
Made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
5-0. Moving on, right? That takes care of down to 18, I think.
18.
18.
I can speak to this as well. This is the seemingly never-ending saga of the septic system up at the Camp Kawani. We had discussed doing something in the spring, however, we had made the determination that it made sense to get a better idea of what the entire cost would be to do the entire system. Obviously, it's cost-effective if we've got equipment and personnel there, as opposed to doing it piecemeal, which is what we had originally planned on doing. We have an estimate of about $125,000 on that. We do have some funds that were allocated. I believe it was a total of $76,000 that was allocated at a previous town meeting. Some of that money has been expended for, obviously, engineering and other sort of services to get us to this point. So we would take those funds, we would use those funds as well as borrow $125,000, approximately $125,000. The idea has also been that by the time town meeting comes around, we will have already put this out as an RFP, and we will have results from vendors, from contractors. So at town meeting, we will actually present the exact figure.
Okay.
Okay, and,
Go ahead, Laura.
Mike, so in aggregate, what will this cost, both what we're asking from town meeting and
About
what?
$175.
Okay, total 175, okay.
And of the 75,000 that they,
There's about 56,000 left.
Yeah. Make sure, if we can, Mike, put that 50 in the additional explanation.
And it will, like I said, it'll be everything, the whole shoot and match.
Okay. So, do we wish to place or recommend, or
I think
both?
place and recommend, because it's gonna come in lower.
It's gonna come in lower,
Yeah,
hopefully,
it probably will come in lower.
Okay, so I would entertain a motion to place and recommend Article 18.
So moved.
Second.
Made and seconded, all those in favor say aye. Aye.
aye.
5-0, moving on to the next one, which we have is
19.
19, Recreation.
That is to request money from retained earnings from the camp to do a study of replacing the pilings or adjusting the pilings. Apparently, they've been in there since 1975, and they do need some attention spent on them.
Okay.
So the short and long, $8,000 to take a look and fix those, again, coming out of retained earnings.
Questions, Laura?
So, Mike, I noticed this is for an engineering study, because I know they had approached CPC, because it is a CPC eligible expense to do waterfront recreation. So I'm assuming this is the first step in perhaps what
Yes.
will ultimately be a CPC article?
Yes.
Okay.
Good, because we already have the money, it wouldn't, okay. No further questions? I would entertain a motion to place, we have a dollar amount? Yes, $8,000.
Yeah.
Place and recommend Article 19.
So moved.
Second.
Made and seconded, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
5-0. Article 20.
The next, keeping with the theme of Camp Quaney, as I think was explained at a previous meeting, there are a number of different problems or things that need to be addressed. Interior gas, plumbing, electrical, underground services, things of that nature. So the Rec Commission is seeking money from or permission to spend, again, money from their retained earnings to go forward with that sort of a study. I would ask that we place it at this point. One of the members of the Rec Commission is actually involved in Phil's, it's easy for me to say, facility maintenance, and he is going to come back with a stronger number than we have. Well, we don't have a number right now. So on the 12th, we will have that number for you, so I just ask for you to place it at this point and not to recommend.
Motion made to place only Article 20. Laura?
I'm sorry to keep being the one with questions. Do we know how much they've got in the Recreation Enterprise Fund? I'm just anticipating if that.
$150,000.
Oh, all right, so I doubt that the cost
I-
will be more than
I don't have it,
150. Okay,
It's roughly $150,000.
okay. Thank you.
I asked.
That's it.
Okay, so motion has been made and seconded on that,
Because I have
correct?
to take out for some of this.
Yes.
They had
No, I
actually
don't
have-
No, I don't think we voted. No, we didn't vote on
Put
it.
it back in
Was-
now
this was
because
to
we've got
place
stuff
only.
in here
Right.
already that's
Motion
gonna
made to
come up.
place only Article 20. Donnie?
So moved.
Second.
Made and seconded. Any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
5-0. We did Article 21, and now we're moving on to Article 22, which is the McQuon Street rehab.
Yeah, Article 22, and both Dawn and I can speak to this, and we've talked about it at length. It has come time for us to make a decision, or the town to make a decision, on funding the 10% that we need to put in, basically for the engineering of the project on
In
McQuon Street.
design.
No, it's
Yeah.
about 750.
Well, the state's portion is $7,500,000.
Yes, yeah.
right?
So for the sake of committing, and we would borrow this money, for the sake of committing $750,000 in borrowing on the town of Hanson's expense, the state would then not reimburse us, but they would add in $7,500,000 to do that particular project. So for us to move forward, we do need to secure these funds, show our match, and it will continue along the process.
Okay, I would,
That's only for 5 years too, right, Mike?
5 years borrow?
Borrowing.
Cool. Okay, so I would entertain a motion to place and recommend Article 22.
So moved.
Second.
Made and seconded. Further questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. 5-0. Thank you, Jim. Article 23.
Just a basic stabilization article. When we have the opportunity, we always like to add money into stabilization if it's available.
Yeah.
So we anticipate the availability of $25,000 from free cash.
Right, and this is, right. I would entertain a motion to place and recommend Article
So
20.
moved.
Second.
Made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
It's good putting money away for a rainy day, right, Mike?
Yes.
Okay, next Article 24, same thing, stabilization, right?
Stabilization, but the school stabilization fund. So
This
this is something that the town has done over the past several years.
And this is for $10,000.
Yes.
I would entertain a motion to place and recommend Article 24.
So moved.
Second.
Made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
5-0.
We currently have about $60,000 in that account right now.
Yeah, 60,173. Thank you, Mary. That's good to know in there.
And now we enter into several water commission articles. So I don't-
Who's the water superintendent, Mike?
Yeah, don't put him on the spot.
No, it's a good question.
I know, well, maybe you
Yeah.
could,
The department.
I don't know, I know, but you couldn't, maybe you could make it, I guess, I
He's
don't
got the
know.
most articles.
Yeah. So, Donnie, I know your
I think-
your group has met with these, right? Do you want to speak to these, or do you want me to?
Well, I was gonna say Article 25, I think we have to pass over, because that wasn't put on the capital plan. Because we had $500,000 left from the water tank,
Yeah,
cleaning, painting, but you can't just take that money.
and push it to where you
We
want.
wanted to add
Yeah.
500,000 to it to install more water main, but you
Okay.
can't do it, so we'll have
Because
to
it's a
pass
different
over at the
purpose.
time.
It's a different purpose, though.
You know, it's using it for a different
Yeah, yeah.
purpose.
Okay.
It wasn't on capital planning.
So what will happen is then, if that's your recommendation, I will ask for a motion, and if no motion is made, then we don't go forward with it, okay?
We can pull it, it
Well,
doesn't have to be
Yeah,
on.
make a
It's
motion
not
to
passed
pull it.
over.
Now's
What
the
if you
time
put
to-
it on
Okay.
and then you can pull it afterwards? I don't know whether they're gonna talk to Todd on, see about combining the two or not, or whether or not you can go to capital planning before town meeting to get it.
Okay,
I don't know. But if we could just place it,
okay.
So you're seeing if you can place it on the matrix.
and we can always just take it off
Yeah,
at town
yeah.
meeting.
If we don't have taken care of what needs to be done by then.
If we can't juggle it together.
Okay, I'm with you. Okay, so I would entertain a motion to place only Article 25 for borrowing
So moved.
$500,000.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded. Further questions or discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
5-0. Article 26, another water.
To see if the town will vote to transfer $150,000 from water surplus to be added to Article 25 of the May 1st, 2017 annual town meeting, or replace several water gates throughout the town's water system.
And there's good, and these are over 50 years old, right, Donnie? So it's a,
Oh, some of them are a lot older than that.
yeah. Okay, and the amount is $150,000. I would entertain a motion to place and recommend Article 26.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Article 27, another water article.
To see if the vote will to transfer from water surplus $25,000 to replace the porch at the water department office.
Thank you, and this is a porch.
This is the porch and the front entrance to the office. Hopefully, it's going to be similar to what they just put on the food pantry.
Oh.
Because
Okay.
the whole porch and everything is falling apart, and it has to be reconstructed to today's standards on
ADA.
handicapped personnel
Yep.
entering and exiting the building.
Okay. And that's for $25,000, as Donnie has read. I would entertain a motion to place and recommend Article 27.
So moved.
Second.
Made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Next, Article 28.
To see if the town will vote to transfer from water surplus $10,000 for one pump and two motors for the Crystal well field to take other action. The reason that's in there is we have 4 wells that use the same pump and motor. I mean, 3 wells that will use the same pump and motor, and the number 1 well is different. So what we're doing is ordering a pump and a motor to have a standby for the simple reason, every time something goes wrong with one of the wells,
Yep.
we don't have a replacement, and it takes 2 to 3 weeks to get it replaced. So what we're doing is buying the pumps to have them on hand, so that if one goes, we can fix it that day.
Wait, and that's, it's worth the $10,000.
For cheap money, I know.
Yep.
It's very short money.
Yeah.
Motion to place and recommend Article 28. Donnie?
So moved.
Second.
Made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, next one, Article 29,
Yeah, I got
which
it
is
here
water new truck.
someplace. I gotta turn the page.
Okay, brother.
I'm behind you.
Don't sweat it. This is a 1995 International 4,000 dump truck that's over 20 years old. We need to replace.
I think it went to 33. How did I do that?
You need to go to 10, page 10.
You're right here. On the top of-
Okay, got
No,
it.
no, flip, right there.
Page 10.
29.
Oh, I got it. To see if the town will vote to transfer from water surplus $150,000 to purchase a new truck to replace the 20-year-old one that we have.
Okay, I would entertain a motion to place and recommend Article 29. Donnie?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
5-0.
Don, I just want to check, this is on the capital improvement plan, right?
As far as I know, yes, it is.
Okay, just checking.
All right. Article 30 is,
That's,
Another water?
Article 30, I forgot that one.
that's
To
30.
see if the town would transfer from water surplus $30,000 to purchase a new surge control valve for the deep well or take other, or it's a new valve that goes on number 1 Crystal well pump, and it's a valve we have to replace.
And protects the pump,
It
right?
protects the pump.
Good. And it's $30,000.
$30,000, and we're taking it from our own money.
I would entertain a motion to place and recommend Article 30.
So moved.
Second.
Made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Last one, Donnie. Water, Article 31.
Okay, I got you. To see if the town will vote to transfer $20,000 from water surplus to rehab the well number 4, Crystal Well.
Okay, and, well number 4 wasn't performing at 100%, right?
No, it wasn't.
Refurbishing, so, okay, $20,000, that's small money to get that one up to speed, right? I
We're
would-
using our own money, it's not, no tax money.
Yep,
And we're still keeping the water rates the same.
okay. Oh, that's even better. All right. You just should have said that at the beginning. We would have whizzed right through these, Donnie.
gift.
Yeah. All right, I would entertain a motion to place and recommend Article 31.
So moved.
Second.
Made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
5-0. Next one we have is Article 32. This is from the Historical. This is see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate, transfer available funds to repair the Thomas Mill Wheel.
So moved.
There's no dollar amount, so I'm just going
Place.
to recommend to place Article 32 on.
Second.
Made and seconded. Any questions or comments? All those in favor to place only Article 32, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, moving along. We did 33 and 34, and moving on to 35. This is the acceptance of the Mass General Law.
Yeah, this is, again, housekeeping. We need to adopt some of the various changes that came through the Municipal Modernization Act. They chiefly pertain to exemptions for surviving spouses of military, people in the military.
Okay. I would entertain, so it should be placed and recommended.
Yes.
So I would entertain a motion to place and recommend Article 35.
So moved.
Second.
Made and seconded. Further questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
5-0, excellent. Moving along to Article 36 is the recreation.
This was
Bylaw?
basically, this is basically a little bit of an oversight, the general bylaws that allow smoking.
Oh, yeah.
So this is just cleaning up so that no smoking is allowed
At a public.
when the functions are in process, so,
Okay.
Inside the lodge.
yes.
Inside
That was
the-
from 1929, wasn't it? It was?
Laura has a question, Laura.
In anticipation of what the Massachusetts future may hold,
Smoking tobacco.
yeah, do we want to just limit it to tobacco? Is marijuana considered a tobacco product?
How about we just say smoking products, remove tobacco from the
Is
explanation?
marijuana considered
I
tobacco
didn't hear the
product?
whole discussion.
We're specifically using language saying that we're prohibiting the smoking of tobacco products, and I'm wondering if we should widen the net a bit in anticipation of future changes
I would, well, we are prohibiting it where?
in the Camp Kawani Lodge. I don't think we're gonna,
Currently, the bylaw says
Yeah.
tobacco products, smoking of
Can't-
tobacco products in town
Gotta change
buildings is
Article
prohibited.
3-8.
And previously, it said with the exception of the lodge at Camp Kawani
Right,
during
yeah, Laura,
functions. So we want to take that last line out. Should we
Yeah.
change the bylaw completely to say tobacco and
Yeah,
marijuana?
yeah. Because I think then you won't have an argument.
But would it be, the motion would, or the article would have to be more encompassing than what we're looking at right now.
I see what you're
Yes, okay.
saying, because it harkens back to the
Everything.
bylaw.
Yeah.
And, you know,
We
I
have to
mean,
change that.
yeah.
Yeah, I can rewrite that.
So why don't we just place
Let's-
only? Place
And then
only.
have them tweak the article.
So
To encompass.
Well, how about this? Couldn't you still tie it into 3-8, which you're not changing this town meeting, but say, you know, with respect to smoking as articulated in 3.8, and then at the time that you're able to change the bylaw, then this will effectively get changed as well?
this is the general bylaw. This
I'm
isn't.
sorry, yeah, but I'm sorry, the, Article 3-8.
Well, I think, you know.
Oh, Section 6A. I don't.
I think what we're
she's saying.
suggesting is perhaps we go back, you put this as a placeholder, and we put another line or two in here that
Yes.
addresses the omnibus here and now, the smoking material, and maybe we better define smoking materials as
That's what I was
tobacco,
saying.
marijuana,
Well,
and
E6, the whole thing.
however we do it, yeah.
It's a very short paragraph.
Okay.
In it, and that's the site in here is the location in the bylaw, which says smoking is prohibited, smoking of tobacco products is prohibited in all town buildings, except for the lodge at Camp Kawani. And we wanted to just lose that exception line, but we can change the whole bylaw, and we can change it to remove the bylaw in its entirety, and in its place insert no smoking of any type of tobacco in whatever language we
I
want to call it.
think we have to, right? I mean, like, we're at a crossroads, we might as well anticipate what's gonna come.
If we're gonna do it now, I mean, if we're going to touch this bylaw now, may as well encompass that. I mean, we're gonna be to that point one way or the other, let's,
It's a strange
Fix it.
discussion to be
Yeah,
having,
it
but.
is.
We'll vote just to
You know.
place it there.
but place it for now, and, we'll put another line or two in.
Smoke your dope someplace else, right, Brian?
That will be our motto, Jim. We'll put that up on the Needles Lodge.
Do you ever see the commercial that says, you can grill high? You know, the guy's cooking on his grill and he smoked dope, and he says, and his wife looks underneath and there's no gas tank attached to it. She goes, and then they go, but driving high to go get the gas filled is illegal. Remember that, okay? All right. So I would entertain a motion to place only Article 36.
So move.
Second.
Made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right. Article 37 we have is the wage and personnel.
Yeah, this is to allow us to engage in the contracts that I mentioned before.
Okay. Yep, and this is the amendment of the general bylaw 212. Okay, so.
We will, on the 12th, we will have you sitting as the Wage and Personnel Committee, and we'll ask you, as the Wage and Personnel Committee, to endorse this.
I got you. Kenny, you'll be chairing that, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so I would entertain a motion to place and recommend Article 37. It is place and recommend,
Yes.
right, Mike? Yes.
So moved.
Second.
Made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. 5-0 on this one. Next one, Article 38 is also wage and personnel.
Yep, and we'll do that again on the 12th, but for now, we're looking for you to place and recommend. We're basically looking to update the high end of the salaries for the three positions indicated.
Right. Okay.
Doesn't mean that's what we're going to
Yeah,
be
pay.
spending,
It's just to put in,
just to adjust,
Increase
as
the
it says
range?
here,
yeah.
to be
sorry.
consistent with some of the other professional positions in town.
Laura?
Is there any other positions that we might want to be adding to
No,
this?
we looked at them and we felt comfortable at this point
Okay,
with these three.
Okay.
We did go through that, that little exercise.
Okay,
For now,
alright.
we're okay with this.
great.
So I would entertain a motion, I would entertain a motion to place and recommend Article 38.
So moved.
Second.
Made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
This is, again, that just increases the range. Article 39, if I'm not mistaken, this is the last one,
I
right?
believe so. And this is
Okay.
also, will be a wage and personnel. And what this is, I've spoken with many members of the professional staff here in terms of their concern that the wage and personnel scale does not necessarily line up with what we're agreeing to in contract. Some members of staff we are not legally allowed to get into a contractual relationship with, so this is an attempt to bring them up to a similar speed as their peers here in Town Hall.
Okay.
Sorry.
I would entertain a motion to place and recommend Article 39.
So moved.
Second.
Made and seconded. Laura?
Mike, what are we looking at in terms of, I generally agree with this, I don't have a problem, but I'm just wondering, how many more vacation days are we adding, what?
A week,
Okay,
yes,
overall,
yes,
in aggregate?
yes.
Okay,
Okay.
It's,
The-
it's adding at the beginning. Some of the, department heads coming in, contractual department heads start out with 3 weeks, whereas if you're in wage and personnel, you get 2 weeks
Two.
after, you work your first year. So this
Okay.
kicks them up to 3 weeks, so they get something a little bit different than the people in the lower scale of the
okay,
wage and personnel
Yeah.
bylaw.
all right,
So in
thanks.
aggregate, yes, it's an additional week for those
Yep.
affected employees.
Okay,
That's right. So those department heads without contracts are usually impacted by this type of
That's
stuff,
correct.
All right, so we need to make sure we clean this up right. All right, I would entertain a motion to place and recommend Article 39.
So moved.
Second.
Made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, 5-0. I would entertain a motion to close the warrant.
So moved.
Second.
Made and seconded. Any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
5-0 to close the warrant.
Well done.
Okay, we have resignation and appointments, right? This is the South Shore Recycling Collaborative Health Agent Matthew Tanis. Mary, can you give us, Mike, give us more on that? Am I wrong? Do we have it?
The Board of Selectmen, why it's a Board of Selectmen and not the Board of Health, is
Yeah.
required to appoint a representative from the town to be on the South Shore Recycling Collaborative.
I see.
And in the interim, the chairman, Arlene Diaz, was it, and now that she's got a health agent, she's letting the health agent do it.
Gotcha.
So this is an appointment.
This is an appointment, yes.
Okay, that the Board of Selectmen are expected to fill for the South Shore Recycling Collaborative.
Correct.
Congratulations to Matthew on this. I would entertain a motion to accept the appointment for
So
Matthew
moved.
Tanis to the South Shore Recycling Collaborative. Motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. 401, what is it? No, just
This would be,
4-0.
I'm putting in the minutes that he stepped out,
Okay,
so now we'll just do 4-0.
so it's 4-0, right?
Mhm.
Okay. Mike, we have the town administrator's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't have too much. I wanted to,
What's that?
He's being a Weisenheimer.
Oh,
I didn't get it. Maybe I didn't want to. I want to let the board know, I know we talked about some goals and objectives. I want to let the board know that I have continued to move forward on both potential siting for cell towers and for solar farms. I've been in contact within the last couple of weeks with a couple of different entities that do either or of these sorts of things. So we're pushing forward. They've expressed interest in doing these sorts of projects in the town of Hanson, so we continue to push forward on that.
perfect, thank you.
I'm going to ask the Board of Selectmen, I've already given sort of temporary permission for this to happen. The St. Joseph the Workers Church has asked if they would be able to use the town green for the annual Rosary event. That'll be on September the 14th, and I would just ask if the board would take a quick vote to affirm my action.
I would entertain a motion to allow St. Joseph the Workers Parish to conduct their annual rosary on September 14th. Time to be determined by the...
Yeah, it's in the morning,
Okay,
Did you say 14th or 15th?
the 14th.
14th.
14th. Questions?
I didn't hear a second.
I did.
Kenny,
okay.
Kenny did.
Kenny did.
Yeah.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
4-0. Father Lee, good luck on that one, that's good.
I think that within the next week or so, hopefully within the next week, we have had ongoing discussions with a vendor in terms of putting some accounting software up at the camp. It's been obviously an issue that we've been going back and forth with for quite some time. Given the fact that we currently do not have a director up there, I've taken the mantle up again along with the Recreation Commission. So I think that, we're pretty close to the goal line on that. So I'm relatively certain on the 12th I'll be able to give you a final on that. So, but it's really picked up steam, and I think we found something that works very well for us.
That's terrific.
That's awesome.
And Lon is working with you on that, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I wanted to report that I spoke with the health agent this morning. I haven't been back down to Rosewood in about a week or so, but he reports that the sand continues to be dispersed in various other places that hopefully will not affect the neighbors throughout that bog. I think of significant importance is the fact that the height has gone down significantly. I think that probably would have solved a lot of things earlier on. Obviously, if the profile of the sand pile is lower than the berm, there's much less of a chance of it getting blown over, and that is the case now. So we continue to update the residents as I get information. I think since we last met, I've sent them 2 different, if not 3 different blasts with information and updates. So, and I have not heard back anything, at least in terms of concerns or in the negative. So hopefully I know that it's been a long time, but hopefully they're finally satisfied with the direction in which things are going.
That sounds good.
I will be meeting with the Rockland Hanson Rotary Group Thursday night. They have offered, I guess, throughout the state, if not throughout the country, every Rotary unit has been asked to get with their municipality and plant a tree. Obviously, that's something that I take an awful lot of interest in, so we're going to discuss probably here on Town Hall grounds planting an American elm. So I'll let you know as that goes forward. Just a, kind of a nice thing to report on.
Sure.
Another fairly nice thing to report on is on the 15th of August, I had my first coffee hour down at the senior center. I thought it was rather well received. I got some really decent feedback, and I will continue to do that the second Wednesday of every month. Again, in an effort to continue to augment our outreach to the citizens of Hanson. And the last thing that I want to end with, I was handed this, Mary was handed this by our veteran agent just this afternoon. He wanted to make the board aware, as well as the residents aware, that the dedication of the square in front of the old railroad station on Main Street for Lieutenant David Hall, is going to take place Saturday, September the 23rd at 1 p.m., and obviously all are welcome. And that's all I have, sir.
Thank you to Bob for that dedication, right? Thank you very much. So we have the next item under old business is the further discussion regarding the facilities manager. I want to apologize to the public if we, I think when we had talked about this last time, we were kind of, it may have been misunderstood where we were coming from and going to with this particular item. But my understanding on this, Mike, and correct me if I'm mistaken, is that this facilities manager position is a town-owned position, not necessarily dedicated to the recreation department only. They're the ones who brought it up because of their issues, right?
Yeah, that's correct. It was created, I think originally, and I think Selectman Hickey may have kind of hinted around to this. I think originally when this facilities manager position had been considered, I think one of the driving forces at that time was indeed the camp. But when it was created as a part-time position, not funded, but created as a part-time position and put within the matrix of wage and personnel positions, it indeed is a town-wide facility manager. So it's not specific to any particular board, committee, building.
Right.
That being said, obviously there was a concern expressed at the last meeting in terms of getting a person like that in place so that they could address what have been identified as very crucial and time-sensitive needs up at the camp. So, whereas when we hire this position, when we hire somebody for this position, it will be, again, in advancement of a town-wide facilities manager.
And where they would report to you directly?
Yes, but they would be tasked by me.
Yes.
To immediately look at the facility up at the camp, the facilities up at the camp. And then once, those priorities are taken care of, then we can merge that into any of the facility items we may have in the other buildings. And I wanted to point out that it's my intention to not only post this as a job, but also put it out as an RFQ. The reason being, it will give us the option of either hiring an individual or bringing a firm in to give us an individual, much in the way that we do our town accountant right now. So it'll give us those two options. And, we'll sit and we'll figure out what the best is. But that kind of opens up the door a great deal for us in terms of opportunities. And I think, especially if we were to go with a company that would give us somebody, I think if further down the road we did get into a discussion about creating a full-time position, I think the flexibility would be more so there with a company than it would with an individual. But again, we'll take all comers, we'll weigh the pros and cons of all our options, and we'll move forward. But my intention is to try to get this moving by the end of this week, if not by the beginning of next.
Okay. And I apologize, Mike, because I think it was misunderstood from the way I explained this last time, which was we started from the recreation department going up, and we really should have started that it's a town position going down.
Yeah.
Well, I think that may have also gotten a little mixed up with some of the conversation about their caretaker versus, there was a lot there, so.
Yeah. Thanks, Laura. Thank you, Mike. I think you're set with that one. So that's ongoing. And I like the RFQ idea, because that way, if we do go that route, it's not going to impact pension, full-time employee, vacation, all that stuff too, okay?
Well, we want to leave all options open to ourselves.
The next option we have is the select project for the complete street. And this was something that we had talked about last time, but we needed clarity on this. I think we're being asked, I know we're being asked to pick one of these projects, one of these 18 items. Is that correct, Mary and Mike?
Well,
Mike?
one if
Sorry.
not two, anything that fits within the $400,000 that we are potentially going to get for this project.
But that's the limit that we can go up to,
That is the
right?
limit, yeah, so we couldn't exceed that. And Mary and I and some others sat down over the course of the last couple of days and took a look at what we had placed for priorities. And I think our recommendation at this point would be that the Board of Selectmen move forward with
Item one?
item 1 and item 3.
One,
Front of Dunkin' Donuts,
How
right?
much is 3?
yeah. Three
Oh,
is
yeah.
15.
Yeah, 3 is only 15.4.
So then that adds up to just shy of 400.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I think, the chief of police
He told
was
us.
very clear that
Yeah.
one was his priority. Therefore, if we're looking at something, I don't see why it wouldn't be ours. And I think everybody that lives in Hanson knows that that intersection is a nightmare.
Yeah. I think he said, what, 70, 87,
I think
was
it
or
might even
something?
be in here. She might have
87
even
accidents?
86 or
86.
something. Yeah,
86, yeah.
yeah.
1 and 3.
But if you read 1 and 2, the 86 accidents,
Yeah,
that includes the
Liberty
the
Street.
3 entrances at Shaw's and Country Road
All right.
and Liberty Street. And
Yes,
that's
sir.
why I was hoping either the chief or Bob Brown could answer that question, because they're 2 separate areas.
Yeah,
So, but they have 86 total accidents combined,
Bind, yeah.
which is still a lot more than the 5, up at the top of the hill.
yeah.
Right.
But it's 2 separate areas and it's not separated.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, Jim. Yeah.
So,
But
so what are you saying, Jim? Do you think we should just go with 2?
no, because now you're gonna look for over $132,000 from somewhere.
Yeah, you
That's why
can't-
with 1 and 3,
Would be
it's
more.
only 366.
Yeah.
But it doesn't
Address the
separate. 1 and 2 is not separated. How many accidents were up at Shaw's? How many accidents were down at Liberty Street?
Yeah.
Right in front of here. It doesn't give us that. It only gives us a total of the 2 areas combined.
But maybe fixing at least one of the problems by Dunkin' Donuts may
Absolutely.
alleviate the issue farther down the road.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't recall exactly how many accidents they said had happened at what is effectively number 2, but I know it was lower than what number 1 was.
Right.
He emphasized that, but you're right, Jim, I wish they had decoupled that, we had the numbers there. But we can't really go for 2 unless we want to come up with $132,000 more.
Correct.
Right. Which-
So,
So it kind
I
of
don't think-
tells the story, it
1
gives
and
us the
3.
direction. Okay, are there any further questions or comments to this?
I only have one more comment,
Jim?
Mr. Chairman. Mike, with 1 and 3, with a total of just under $366,000, what happens if there is an
Additional,
increase? Right now, for number 1, we have $351,000. If it goes up by 10%, we're talking another $35,000.
Well, we'd have to take a step back at that point. I mean, we can only go with the static numbers right now.
Okay.
I think your point is, are we committed at that point? If we take this amount of money, we find out that it actually is gonna cost us an extra, I don't know, 50 grand or so, are we then compelled to come up with that extra 50 grand? No.
Okay.
We probably have to
I
stop the
think you
whole.
do one thing at a time. When that's
Then we
done,
could do
we
one,
can
yeah.
do, right, if you're right.
but on the other hand, we might want to say, well, geez, they've given us 350, maybe we can come up with another 10 or 50, to get the
Well, that was a
project done.
thought too.
Yeah.
I think for now, it probably, and this actually is going to Jim's remarks, I think it makes sense to go forward with what we have right now in the possible event that this amount of money goes up and we've used it all up.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay,
So-
so,
So
go
On the
ahead.
351, where it says September 2017, that's what they're anticipating the cost would be.
Yeah.
So we're right
Yeah,
on
exactly,
target.
Exactly.
Okay.
And
we
that's
can
the-
If
always
it were to
back-
start on the 7th, in
yeah.
September,
Right, and we
next
could
month.
back off on number 3
If need be, yes.
Right.
Yeah, we're not beholden. If this runs over and comes close to 4 and we can't cover number 3 anymore,
Yeah.
no, we walk away from it.
Okay.
Even though they both have the same time frame
Yeah.
of September, right? Okay, that makes sense. So I would entertain a motion on the Complete Streets Funding Program that the Board of Selectmen accept items 1 and 3. The project name is pedestrian and traffic signal improvements at the Liberty Street, Route 58, and County Road intersection, as well as the pedestrian upgrades at the intersection of Liberty Street, Route 58, and Hanson Middle School driveway.
So moved.
Second.
Made and seconded. Further comments or questions?
Just who lets them know what our decision is? Like, do we send them something?
Laurie, Mary will want to, Mary? Let
Yeah,
Laurie know?
we'll have to, I'll let Larry know tomorrow.
Okay.
I
Thank
went
you.
to second everything all night long. You couldn't give me this one. This is the most I spoke all night. All right.
Next time, say it in advance, yeah.
Thank you,
Advisement.
Selectman Mitchell.
Okay, motion has been made and seconded for 1 and 3. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
1 and 3 it is. Thank you, folks. Discussion regarding the renaming of the McQuon School Transition Committee. I think, Laura, you're the one up for that one.
Well,
What are
I
you
mean,
thinking?
obviously, we can't have our committee named the same thing that the school district is named theirs. It would be a little bit confusing. It already is
It is.
confusing.
Yeah.
Bob's got complete strangers
Do you have any
asking him what
ideas?
they're doing
What-
with the
what do you got
McQuon.
for ideas?
Well, gee, I really thought we'd go out there on a limb and call it the McQuon School Reuse Committee. You know, I don't
Very
know.
creative.
You know, it seems to have worked magic with Plymouth County Hospital. Maybe we can work some magic with McQuon. I don't know.
I like
People-
reuse
Yeah,
instead of
yeah.
transition. We might as well keep in standing with what we did with PCH, right, Donnie? What do you think? Yeah? All right.
Well, 20 years,
Was that an
I
official
won't be
comment?
here.
Okay, so I would entertain the motion to rename the McQuon School Transition Committee to the McQuon School Reuse Committee.
So moved.
Second.
Made and seconded.
Oh, I'm sorry, should we call it use committee? Or, like, I don't want it, I'm sorry, I know this is confusing the point, but I just don't want people to think that the end result is absolutely
keep
to
it-
reuse
reuse it,
McQuon, because that is one of the things that we're going to look at very actively, but it's possible that we could sell it, or, you know, that we might decide, so I don't know, am I overthinking it?
A little bit.
I think so. I would just go with reuse.
Don't hold back, Jim.
Yeah,
Okay,
I would just go with reuse. We did it for PCH, it's consistent.
I just don't want people to be misled by
Yeah,
it.
no. I don't-
Okay,
I
all
don't think they
right,
will.
sorry,
Oh,
you
how
were knee
about
deep into
McQuon
it.
School Committee?
No, because then it's a different deal. It could be interpreted differently.
Then people are gonna think
It
we're
doesn't
like,
say what you're gonna do it with.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
How
you could
about
say
McQuon
McQuan School
School
reevaluation. No, I don't
yeah,
want to do that.
evaluation committee?
out already, Laura.
I know, all right,
I like reuse. Let's just go with reuse.
all right, it's fine, as long as we subtitle it, not really just to look at reuse. Okay.
Because you're right, we might not do it.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, which is,
Or you could do final
Yeah.
McQuon School Reuse.
yeah, the final reuse committee. There you go. That's next. Okay. So we've moved on that. Did we vote?
No, we
Not
didn't.
yet.
No, we didn't. Okay, I would entertain a motion. I already made the motion. It's been made and seconded. We're going to be calling it the McQuon School Reuse Committee. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against? Hearing none, the motion
I'll
carries.
make a motion
5-0.
to accept the minutes of the meeting,
Oh,
Tuesday, August 15th,
Perfect. Thank you, Donnie.
2017.
Not doing it.
Motion has been made.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded.
No
To
flies
vote and
on
approve
Donnie
the
tonight.
minutes
No
of
flies
August
on
15th. Any questions? I thought they were well-written, nice
I read
job.
through
Yeah, I
them.
read them, I thought so too.
That was a
I
very
can't find
busy
anything
meeting.
wrong with them.
All right, cool. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against, none. Hearing none, the motion carries. Committee reports, the Monpont Pond Committee, Mr. Howard.
Yeah, I'm trying to find a piece of paper here.
All right, we'll come back to you.
No, it's right here.
Okay. You're getting,
Monpont, on the cyanobacteria. East Monpont Pond is 41,041, that's still under. But if you go around the corner on West Monpont, it's 117,000 at the beach, and 117,540 cells, and at the boat ramp, it's 117,221. So it's way above the level of the point where they can take any water.
we need some rain, Donnie, yeah?
Well, we need that anyway.
Thank you,
That's
Mr.
all I have for that.
Thank you, Donnie. Final Plymouth County Hospital Reuse Committee,
That's tomorrow night at 4 o'clock here.
4 PM here at Town Hall.
Yep.
Thank you, Don. Hanson School Repair Committee, Mr. Hickey,
We are good.
good to go. Highway Building Committee, Mr. Mitchell.
I think we discussed that during the warrants, so nothing else to report.
All right, excellent. We'll look forward to that at town meeting, right? 200th Anniversary Committee,
Yeah, we had our first meeting. Marcus Lim was nominated the chair. He's very passionate about this, so I think he's gonna make an awesome chair.
Marcus who, I'm sorry?
Marcus Lynn.
Lynn?
Yeah, you know, he's very involved with Boy Scouts and a number of other groups. I won't get into excruciating detail. We basically talked about potential events, fundraising, et cetera, and our goal is really to reach all different ages. So we're not gonna just gear it towards families. We're gonna really try to involve some projects that are intergenerational, kids interviewing elderly people, getting the schools involved. I'm meeting with Dr. Whitner tomorrow to talk about what their willingness would be to integrate it into the curriculum. And I know it's, 3 years up the road, but got to start the conversations now.
Absolutely.
We've got, it's a great committee, a lot of passion, more to come, and, we've got a lot of great ideas. We're gonna really try to do some positive things, like 200 days of paying it forward, as a town. And then just the typical, cake and parade and, the things that you'd expect from a bicentennial kind of.
Did you want to mention in relevance to this, the Plymouth meeting?
Oh,
meeting that we
yeah,
went to?
so, in accordance with that, thank you for prompting me on that. Mr. McGann and I were invited to attend a Hanson Historical Society meeting where the director of the Plymouth 400th, committee was there and did a wonderful presentation on what their objectives are, what their outreach is. They've got some programs we may be able to leverage. For instance, they have a Wampanoag exhibit for a very, very nominal fee, and hopefully we'll even winnow it down past what she was stating. They'd be willing to bring it to the library. There is an actual cost for bringing it on the road, so they can't completely waive the fee, but if we sign on as being a partner, that allows our events to be put on their website, and and then we just have to sort of promise to support them. But we're looking for some synergies. She gave us a little presentation, which I passed out to the 200th committee, and they're going to review it. We'll discuss more, but I think there'll be a lot for us to leverage, and we'll get some good ideas from
And
them.
the interesting thing is their anniversry, Plymouth's anniversary is the same as ours, right?
Yeah.
For that year?
Yeah.
Theirs is 400th, ours is 200,
Yes.
right?
Ours will be better.
Yes,
We clearly have a bigger
That's
budget than
correct.
Plymouth does.
yes. Okay, if there's
I will
no,
entertain a motion to go into executive session.
motion has been made to go into executive session.
Second.
Motion seconded. This executive session will adjourn into a regular meeting session where we will adjourn from there. And I must read to you folks, as part of the executive session meeting, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining or litigation if an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining or litigating position of the public body, and the chair so declares, administrative, professional, and dispatchers. Forgive me, easy for me to say. Right? Okay, so we have a motion to move to executive session. We have to take a roll call vote.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, 5-0. We are in executive session. I want to thank you all folks for coming, and we'll see you at the next meeting, which is the Tuesday, September 12th. Thank you all.